5:41. I'm
Should be proud of your home.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But on March 21st. Okay, just a couple of housekeeping
Print that one
things.
out.
First
That one's got it.
is
Yeah.
325 draft has it.
we'll be voting on the
These things?
money articles relating
Yeah.
to the town meeting will
Can I have
take
that
place
too?
in May. So that will take place at the end of this meeting, and these all these. Like you'll have a copy of them from Ken in a few minutes,
Okay.
and we'll go through each one, and we can vote and have a discussion on those. The other thing that I did get an email. I gotta find volume. Okay.
Well, if you take, yeah.
I did get an email from Lori Kasna, and I just wanted to share that with you. The first, there were two questions that they wanted to answer for us that we had for them. And the first question was, if the district received a grant, and I think this was you, Mike, the district received a grant for one or a few parts of the construction project, as the MSBA grant reduced by the same amount. And technically, it's technically another funding source, like a grant would be subtracted from the project cost before the MSBA share is calculated.
Okay.
So apparently the MSBA doesn't play well in the
With
sandbox.
others, yeah.
So apparently. But there are strategies, of course, to alter that. What they would do is they would alter the scope of work. And whatever it is. It's more of a kind of a shell game, it sounds like. That's actually pretty common with grants, like the MSBA grant. But like I said, it doesn't seem, just listening to that, paying attention to that, I would think they would encourage you to find other funding methods.
Because it was the $18 million that were unreimbursable that were, to ask the question about, if there's a way that we can get money for that part of it. But
Well, right, for the unreimbursable, like for instance,
Why
you
not?
could go after memorial seats in the auditorium and take that money and apply it and that kind of thing. Yeah, well, they take it off the grant, so.
That doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely,
Because
it doesn't.
if it's not a reimbursable item through the grant, then why can't you bring extra?
I agree.
money?
I agree. I couldn't agree more. That's why, it's one of the reasons why I'm having a little bit of trouble with this whole thing. I just feel like the MSBA is not playing nicely in the sandbox here. I really do. Unfortunately, that's. I just don't feel like that's what they're doing. I feel like they're the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes down to money coming to schools, and it just doesn't. And I'm completely speaking of my opinion and no one else's. So just the more I hear, the more it kind of seems that way to me. The next thing is the 54.79 base rate calculated using the information of all 7 member towns or just the town the school is located in. The rate is a blended rate factoring in all 7 towns in proportion to the enrollment at that time. So that the 54.79 is the amount. Is amount taking in all the 7 communities. So,
Your copies of past,
that 54.79 number I find to be a little bit of a disturbing number as well, considering other communities are receiving much larger grants.
I only do make ones for
And I think
this.
part of that is that,
How many tests?
if the school was as decrepit as it is, one would think that the MSBA would be more willing to provide more.
Yeah.
So I think there are formulas that they do follow,
No.
but one would think that if it was that far, that the reimbursement level would be higher. So those are just my thoughts. And I'm sure there's thoughts of others when it comes down to that, but that's the extent of my involvement. Okay, so, all right, the email from Lori is all set.
So you don't know what, like, Williamstown got for their rate?
I don't. We could probably make a couple phone calls and find that out. Would you know what?
No, I don't.
I don't recall ever hearing.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever hearing what their rate was. I know Great Barrington was similar to ours, and they have a school built at a similar time. Part of the reason, I think, because why Taconic hit so well was, first off, it was the type of community. That was the first reason. And the other, as I understand it, there were literally structural problems with that school. In other words, the school was actually sinking. So there was a very real problem. And I'm kind of thinking maybe Wacona doesn't have those kinds of problems. So there's a level of urgency, and I think MSBA takes that into account. Is kind of what I'm feeling about the whole thing.
Well, wasn't
I've
that
had
the-
many conversations with people on those committees, and that's kind of what I'm pulling from it.
Wasn't that the same thing like Nessicus, where we had so
Right.
much
A
money
good
because
example would be Nessicus.
had a bad-
That's a very good example. Is Nessicus? We had a school, and the school wasn't really falling in, but we needed, first and foremost, we needed more room. And the second thing was, we owned the land already. So we had a huge advantage over many other participants in the program. So when Nessicus came down, we got, I want to say, I don't know if you remember, Ken.
I know, I don't
I
remember.
want to say we were eligible for that same kind of thing that Pittsfield got, which was 80-something%, I think. I'm not positive. So what happened was, the actual cost to build the school was less than what it would have been to fix the old one. In this case, it's going to cost us more to build a new school than it is to fix the old one. And I'm kind of thinking that's where the MSBA is coming from. When you put that kind of a spin on it and you think about that, I kind of think that, and I wouldn't blame them for coming from that viewpoint. I quite frankly would not blame them.
Right, because of all the schools that they have to deal with in Massachusetts.
There's a lot
They're
of
gonna
other
take
schools
those that
with
are
a lot
really
bigger
direct-
problems than
Really have
this.
structural issues and give them that extra money.
Absolutely.
So they've got to look and see what they are, but if structurally, in a sense, Wacona isn't like, foundation-wise, isn't cracking or falling in, let's say.
It needs work. Well, there's
I
no-
mean, it needs work,
There's
but
no
I'm just
denying
saying
that Wacona needs to
that
have some repairs.
they didn't
There's
think
absolutely
that
no
we needed
denying
that
that.
much
I
money.
know we're gonna have to spend money for that. I get it. I couldn't, we're looking at a guy that couldn't completely more get it than anyone. So that's quite frankly the case. So that being said, I just wanted to kind of, just touch on that just for a moment.
Well, thank you for sharing the email.
Okay, hold on. Oh, come on.
I haven't seen my face.
All right. She's a cutie. She's a cutie. Both are.
Oh, geez, thanks.
You met the one on the left.
You said they both are.
Covered my bases.
Thanks, Chris. I really just felt
Are we doing this now?
I really love you too, Chris.
I have to say, this,
Yeah, they're already
is
all
it two?
kind of separated
Did count two?
by pack.
Okay.
It
I-
says
Do you want me
2020,
to add those two?
right?
Yeah.
Here's,
And we got the budget. Count?
No, the,
Okay.
go through reserve funds, right?
Oh.
When's the
Spreadsheets?
contingency fund?
Up,
no,
down?
go all the way down, down, right there.
Oh, up one. Ah,
You
moving
know
forward.
where it is.
Nice.
See if I can get a
I think
comment
somebody's
back.
training me. All right, let's
Come on,
do
two
it.
weeks.
Let's go to
The other
the,
end one.
let's go to the show. All right. Now, we covered a fair number of budgets last night.
Yeah.
As you can see, we've got a pretty fair-sized list. Ken, you don't have any reserve fund transfers, do we, tonight?
Sandy and I were just coordinating on that. We in fact have 3, Mr. Chairman.
Oh.
Do we want to touch on those first, or we want to get this out of the way? We can do them
We
first.
can do those
Let's do
first.
the reserve fund
Are you
transfers first.
ready?
Okay.
She's looking at me
We
with
are.
fear in the
We are.
headlights.
Just for,
Is this the first one?
now it's all three together.
Okay, all 3 together? Oh, you got them collated? Wow. All right, I'll pass.
I can pick my feet up flat.
Oh, we got, okay, we got the passing line going. I like it in my face. That's it for me. Hey.
I don't know what happened to that one.
Ken, I have an original over here.
That's
Yeah,
mine,
okay.
that's for me to sign.
Yeah, but,
Thank you.
all right.
All right. Now, just one other comment. We are utilizing the tape tonight for this. So if we have a conversation of any kind at the table, we need to raise our voices a little bit so that the camera can hear us. Deb was unable to make it tonight, so. Just
That one?
I know.
I think that's it.
No,
Right?
wait.
No, one more?
Yep, one more.
I only have,
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay, we have.
town
Oh,
hall.
and
I
there's
think we're good now.
Yeah.
Good?
Yes.
Good
Right,
for you.
everybody's, you got all three?
No, I've only got two.
2
I
pages?
got two of the same thing, right?
Two.
No.
Oh.
Maintenance
There should be
on
three for
computers
each.
Town hall and senior
Three,
center if
and
needed.
then one.
Yeah, I guess you do have two of the same.
6 pages?
What one do you have?
3 and 3?
Four.
Karen,
Pardon me?
what do you have?
I have the town hall,
She doesn't
for
have the-
2,000.
One.
-7.
I've got that, the other one is department
157.
requesting transfer for the 3,000, balance six.
The single
You have that or don't
She
have
doesn't
it?
That one I
She
have.
doesn't have the single sheet one.
Okay.
I don't have that one.
No, you
What
don't
one
have either of these two.
Here.
You got two of those, but not
Does he have
either of
these?
these.
I got nothing. I got the 7,500, the
Oh,
original appropriation 7,500, you're looking for 1,000, you want the original, so.
This one.
Yeah, I have
the
the
original though.
Is this mine?
Original.
That's because it was copied in
Okay.
color. They're all,
Oh,
You got all
okay.
three, Bill?
as long as I get the
I
original
only have- I only have
signed
one.
by Mr.
These are
Chairman,
two of
You
these
get
are the
that.
same.
I'm good.
Do you need three? Here, there, Mr.
He didn't get
Chairman.
his?
I only have two.
I
Do
feel
you
like.
have this one? Then, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at it, look at it.
You're seconding, I don't know like that.
Okay. Mr. Vice Chairman, let's take a look at what we got going. Yeah, which one
You
is
just
that?
take away?
First one, 5,7.
I don't have this one.
Department name is Town Hall. Right, is it, department,
Okay.
Yes,
Is
it's
it-
town hall.
All three of these are town hall?
No, two are Department 157, that's computers,
Oh, computers, okay.
and should be 196, Town Hall Contingency Fund.
So at the top, write down number 196 next to town hall.
Okay.
Maybe I should put 196.
And the other two are both computer,
Yeah,
Department 157.
157.
we have two.
There's two for computer.
There's two for computers.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't matter which order.
No, whatever you choose is fine.
So you can fashion a
Let
motion.
me try to remember how to make a motion for these. So make a motion to approve the request for transfer. Let's see. What's the, from reserve fund, the department, I'm trying to remember what number that is.
132.
132, thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna
Uh,
add
to-
that to the form.
Yes, I thought I remembered it used to be there, but that's okay. To the computer account number 157 in the amount of, looks like $1,000. Currently at a balance of $7 in the hole. And this is for maintenance on computers for town hall and senior center, if needed.
Second it?
Motion has been made and seconded for a reserve fund transfer from the reserve fund, Department 132 to computers at Department 157 in the amount of $1,000 for maintenance of the town hall and senior center computers. Is there any discussion?
And this is just in case,
Yeah, it's just preventative as far as I know.
typically.
Well, we have-
Yeah, until it's
We have 4 more months of
And they're at $7 in the hole.
three, right.
Yeah,
on
that
this particular line item.
It's expected there'll be costs for this.
There's always something that comes out
Okay.
that
Talking
requires
to Pat,
attention.
he thinks he's got things that are going on. He wasn't sure how much, but
Yeah.
he was anticipating some.
This costs a bunch of money to have that all installed.
Absolutely.
And that was not even budgeted, so.
Right.
That and other things.
Yeah, it's kind of, the whole computer thing is.
Yeah.
Computers are, I get it, they're an ongoing. Have we looked at the computer budget yet this year?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Are we anticipating an increase in that budget this year?
Yes. There's a requested increase.
Okay.
Yeah, 5,000.
Increase? Okay.
Only hit it.
Right, yeah, I'll talk about that
This is
later.
last year.
But this-
Yeah. So, yeah, this is, we had 7,500 last year in the, right, Patisher, well, I see he's got another one over here for software. Pat, think $1,000 is gonna be enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look,
Like
he
you
seems
said,
to do a
just
pretty
perform
careful
it.
job of budgeting.
Yeah, I know, he does it, I give him a lot of credit, he's very proactive.
Yeah.
Very proactive. All right. Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Three.
No.
No, it's separate.
For- All right.
The one we're now, right, yeah.
John Hancock.
Yeah, they don't affect this.
Okay.
All right, next.
All right, make a motion to approve reserve fund, or transfer from reserve fund department number 132, excuse me, to computer account, or department number 157, in the amount of $2,193.10. The account originally funded for $3,000 is currently at $670. The amount is requested to pay for antivirus software for the town hall.
Second it.
A motion's been made and seconded to transfer funds from Department 132 Reserve Fund to Department 157 Computer in the amount of $2,193.10 to cover the costs of antivirus software for the town hall. Okay.
And this is a software that was not anticipated or
Right,
more
that's
expensive
that's
than
exactly
thought,
what
or-
happened. No, it just wasn't anticipated. There was a license on the firewall that protects all the town hall computers. It expired and
I see.
came to Pat's attention. So
Okay.
he's got a quote here. You can see what Renatus, our provider, is quoted.
Yeah, so the firewall is a 3-year firewall. And that was what was unknown
Oh.
because it was installed when a police department server was redone.
Okay.
And I didn't know that there was a firewall there, and neither did Pat until it expired, or was gonna expire.
Uh-huh.
So the cost for the antivirus software was already in the budget, but the firewall wasn't.
Firewall,
So
okay.
this is to pay now for the antivirus that got used up by the,
Is that for another 3 years?
Is that
or
for 3 years?
no, that's annual.
Okay.
2,000.
It's gonna be around $2,000 a year for antivirus?
Yeah, this is about
Okay.
the same price as last year.
Yeah, okay.
And do we
And
know-
that's,
Is that-
that's
Is that
for,
for all the computers?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
the entire building.
Okay.
and senior center and
Yes.
highway.
Okay. So
Do we-
70
do we know what we're using?
computers.
There's a quote attached.
Right here.
Oh.
Trend microwave.
Oh, cool, you're the best, Amy.
I didn't do that factory.
Microworry, trend business.
Renatus Solutions must be a consultant contract.
Yeah, that's our internet
Software.
provider. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
For 70 computers.
Or IT
Okay.
provider.
And I'm guessing that there's a sentence in here that says, "I was not here to calculate that cost in for a future budget." So This is not built into the budget we're going to see for computers tonight?
I think it is. I think he meant that he
didn't
wasn't
catch it
here
last year.
when this particular budget,
Gotcha.
Right.
2019 budget.
Pat's only been here for 2 years and it was
Gotcha.
installed 3 years ago,
and
so he didn't know.
we
about
just
it.
found out this
Yeah,
year
right.
that there was a
Just
firewall.
like to address it if
fire.
we're talking about that budget tonight.
Yeah, we
Right.
can sure garden that, right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we'll talk, after this, we're gonna review the computer budget later on. We'll have, it might be a rather lively discussion, but we'll talk a little bit about the computer
Yeah,
budget
it's,
when we get to that, all right?
Right, thanks.
So, but a lot of this, what we're seeing right now is probably going to be addressed, if not now, in the very near future. All right. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. Put pennies in there. Oh, God.
Probably what the quote was.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
What?
Pennies. Jeepers.
Where are there, oh. Well, just round it up.
No, we're good. It's
It
already
drives me
approved.
crazy too.
Oh, jeez.
We're all crazy.
We're all a little crazy, Sandy. All right, last but not least.
I'd like to make a motion for another reserve fund transfer, or transfer from Reserve Department number 132 to the Town Hall, Department number 196, in the amount of $5,000. That was originally appropriated for $2,000 and a current balance of $463. And the reason is relative to a variety of personnel expenditures running ahead this year from what was expected.
Second it,
Motion has been made and seconded for a reserve fund transfer, Department 132, to the Town Hall, Department 196, in the amount of $5,000 to cover contingencies related to personnel. Is there any discussion?
The telecommu, this is, the 5,000 is just a plug figure. You can see I've attached a printout that Sandy gave me showing employees who have used this. And this relates to a new policy of the town. Sometimes employees have to come in on Friday. No one's scheduled to work on Friday.
Yep.
Except the health agent for a few hours. And if they come in on Fridays and they have a legitimate project to work on, then we pay them for that incremental amount of time they came in.
Straight rate.
Yep.
I was wondering about that.
And not overtime.
Right.
No.
So I don't think we, the town hall isn't open a full 40 hours, correct?
Right.
Right. So it would be strict. Is it?
It could-
Has it been helpful to have the people be able to come in
Yeah.
on the Fridays? Because I'm sure it's quiet.
Very. So, for instance, the town planner has something going, like she's preparing a grant application for something.
Right.
She's come in and get that done. There's a number of things she's working on like that. She can come in and work. And the policy says that people who are in the salaried classifications, which are 8 and 9, can work up to 40 hours and get paid up to 40 hours, but there's no overtime involved. But if you're an hourly worker and you happen to trip that trigger, we have an
Absolutely.
obligation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But most of the time, because people are scheduled for 35 hours, 5 hours is more than enough to get the work done. So it's very rare that an hourly worker gets paid overtime.
Absolutely, that's good. That's good. I guess the question is, should we increase the upcoming budget by a small amount to cover that?
I think it should.
Practice.
Sandy and I have had a discussion about that, and we're going to come back with a more realistic number. I think a better time to do that, though, maybe at the June town meeting, because that's when we make, adjustments to the budget, and we'll have some time to look at this a little bit more carefully. So that would be my suggestion, rather than to kind of fly by the seat of our pants tonight and change that budget. Wait till the June town meeting, we'll probably have a number of changes coming up.
Are we able to, once the town's approved that the town hall budget, once the town has approved it, we can go and change that budget like that?
They have to approve that too.
At the special town meeting.
We haven't-
Because that's typically what we do at the special town meeting, in addition to the capital projects. If there are
Right.
amendments to any operating budgets, we do it at the same time. So what may come up this year, and I hope we can do it, is all of our three labor contracts are being negotiated.
Yeah.
So I hope we can settle all of those and get an appropriation before the town in June, so we won't have to be doing retro calculations, which are
Yeah.
drive Sandy and Dawn crazy.
Yeah, and we don't want to drive them crazy. We're already driving them crazy enough. We don't need to drive them further.
Because we haven't approved that town.
But we haven't done the town hall yet,
Budget.
so I just didn't know if we wanted
That's why
to
I
do that.
asked, because we haven't
So
approved it yet, so.
let
We haven't done 196 yet.
Let the, yeah, we'll let Sandy and Ken work that one out.
Okay.
Let them. All right.
This is, these hours are approved, or the people are trustworthy to be?
No, they have to
Right.
file a form with me.
Okay.
Tell me what it is they want to do, and I sign it, and it goes into the file, yeah. And I'm a mark, though, so.
Oh, God.
But he
Well,
signs nice and fast.
Chocolate.
Hey, Ken, what
Actually,
are you
it's,
doing? Just
yeah,
like-
chocolate out. But actually,
It's
to
not
be
bad.
honest with you, I kind of think it's good practice.
It's responsible.
It is responsible, because it is true.
It seems like you really keep a tight leash on it. From what I can see, wow, this could be something that spirals out of control. It seems like you have a pretty tight leash on it, so that's good.
And I have to tell you, just so all of you know, that some of our salaried workers, like the one sitting to my left here, put in time beyond that, and they don't ask for compensation. And so I asked, particularly Sandy and Dawn, why they hadn't asked for compensation. They said, well, you know, we're running out of money. And they said, well, let's ask for a reserve for transfer then.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons you're seeing this.
For you to say.
Well, the thing is, you have people, salaried people, and they're anticipating a given number of hours. And I get if you have a little extra work to do, then you go ahead and get it done and call it a day. But the level of compensation they are at pretty much covers the hours that they work. It doesn't really account, if just simply look at the salaries. You gotta be blind not to be doing it. So if they work extra, they really, so people can sleep at night, should be compensated. Because it's like with all government. It's not like, government's not like a business. It's government's here whether we like it or not, and we have to go through these budgets whether we like it or not, and that's the deal. So if it takes a fair amount of extra work to do, then we should be willing to compensate them. It's just the way I've always spun it, looked at it, so.
Ken's always willing to compensate, you just have to request it.
Yeah.
And it's
we haven't
project
done
based
it.
too.
Well,
So
right,
It's,
right.
I'm working on this thing, I gotta get it done, can I come in on Friday and work on it?
Right.
And it's not for during the week, it's just Fridays, because we're not
Well,
operating
because I
Friday.
got people who call in during the day,
Right.
like myself, hey, can we get this, and then they
Yeah.
can't get their work done. And especially around budget time and
Well, I
those
was-
other
that's-
demanding times.
Actually, that's
you-
exactly what I was thinking about. I
you've
come
gotta
in here
put
and
in
see
that.
you, you
I
go
mean-
nuts when it comes budget time. Poor Sandy's running around here, I don't know how she keeps her cool, I lose it. Just saying.
It's not the only thing though at that time, you know.
Well, I know,
There's
that's the
other
whole
things
thing,
throughout
is,
the year
so,
that come up
to be
that
able to
are
focus
time-wise.
on,
Right.
take 2 or 3 hours on a Friday and focus on that one thing and be able to accomplish it, that's important. I think it would be more efficient in the end, so. All right, any other questions? Why is everybody so quiet tonight? I feel like,
We have a lot of work to do.
stop.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All those opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, there we go. Let's go.
Now,
Okay, once you hand
taking
it,
care of
I'll
those, I'll
take-
take them down
I'll take them down and you start the next motion.
there. All right. Okay, well, you'll have to, Tracy will have to do this. All right, now, On to the fun part. Is there anything else? We're all set? Good, cool. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget for the town manager, department number 123, comprised of salaries of $151,111 and expenses of $8,309 for a total department budget of $159,420, an increase of 2.67%.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the budget for town manager, Department 123, in the amount of $151,111 for salaries, $8,309 in expenses, for a total budget of $159,420. All right, what do we have for discussion? We have a vacation replacement for you, Ken?
No, that's for Judy.
I was gonna say, there's no way we could replace you.
Well, the chair of the select board has get stuck with it, that's been the tradition here.
Yeah, you
I
got
don't get
it.
anything else.
Okay.
So it's a 2% increase. Is that right? Essentially, a
Yeah,
2%
per
increase.
percent.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question on the professional technical training.
Mhm.
Is there any special training that's needed for Judy in that office? I've often wondered that, and I just happened to read it, and that happened to be a flash in my brain.
The job doesn't it's not like, let's say, the town accountant or the town collector or the town treasurer,
Right.
they're specialized courses. But
Right.
if she sees something she wants to go to, she's free to do that.
Okay. The thought process
I'm trying to
being
think of the last
that
one
she
she went
has,
to.
she has.
Oh, that's right, we sent her to a purchasing.
That's exactly,
Of course,
that's
that's
what I
right.
was thinking. She has people that come in, like, involved with purchasing and things
Yeah.
of that nature. She's
Right.
trained in that. That's what I was wondering. How we using our budget, is it good?
What are you on target?
We're over. It's good. Everyone pretty well satisfied with the budget? Yep. Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing or hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the budget for the accountant department number 135, comprised of salaries of $72,095, expenses of $10,214 for a total department budget $82,309, an increase of 3.07% over last year.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded for the department 135 accountant in the amount of $72,095 in salaries and $10,214 in expenses for a total amount of budget of $82,309.
Looks like the only expense increase would have been that software support, that 5% increase.
Right.
And the salaries are at 2%.
Yes.
2%.
Any
Budget
budget
software? What software is that? Is that the?
It's my accounting systems software. So they provide, with just a phone call, any kind of issue we need resolved, gets resolved. They link in, and we help them figure out, or I do anyway. They link in, and if I kind of know where there's the problem, they'll show us how to fix it, or how to run a report we don't know how to run, or all kinds of stuff. Anything we need, they're available. For instance, payroll had some injured on duty where it results in your taxes not having to be withheld. And so that was a glitch in their system. We weren't able to do it. They showed us how to do it and are looking at fixing it so that it's correct. So all kinds of stuff like that.
Professional technical training.
Mhm.
Is that the only training that you attend each year?
Yep.
MMA?
And if we have other conferences, which we haven't been having, like Western Mass Auditors and Accountants Association,
Uh-huh.
have training afternoons, let's say,
Yeah, yeah.
but they haven't been being held.
Oh.
Because someone has to volunteer to hold it and
Teach
send
it.
out invitations and,
No, we want to. Oh no, I just, it seems like a rather. To be honest with you, it seems like a rather meager amount for a person that's responsible for such a large amount of things. It just seems like a rather meager amount, to be completely honest with you. I just.
well, I've been in the job for 18 years, so.
Yeah,
I
you're doing a
kinda-
great job. That's cool. That's a good thing.
Are there any other courses you have to take to be certified? I noticed that one,
I am certified.
but you said to remain
To
certified.
remain
you gotta take
certified, if I don't go for 2 years,
that.
the third year, I have to carry around a card and get it signed off by every single class. that-
And this is all you'd have to attend to be certified for that 2-year period?
Mhm.
Okay. Right. Does our assistant go to these too? No?
No,
Is there a reason for that?
she, there's no reason, but
Oh.
she has a little baby where,
No, I get it. I was just asking if she, it's more of, has because it's always good to have, I guess, backup, cross-training. I'm trying to avoid the word cross-training, and more of a backup for you. So if it's.
she is a backup for me. She does all of the accounts payable. She does it from start to finish, tying it in.
Does she have this certification too?
No, she doesn't need to have that certification for that particular kind
Okay,
of
all right.
job.
Okay, all right. Well, if the opportunity presents itself for her to attend these things, that would be a good thing. And if we need to raise that budget for her to attend them, we should.
That's if she falls.
I think that would just be prudent on our part to have that.
If
Don't
she's
you?
willing to do that, sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, kind of thing. All right. All right. Are there any other questions? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Next.
Make a motion to approve the budget for treasurer department number 145, comprised of salaries of $89,984 and expenses of $37,647, total department budget of $127,631, an increase of 16.75% over last year.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded for the department, for Department 145 treasurer in the amount of $89,984 in salaries, $37,947 of expenses, for a total budget of $127,631. That's another one.
2%. I think it's the interest, go down.
Yeah.
Salaries are essentially at 2% again.
2%,
Salaries
but
are-
it's right there, it's
Yeah.
that interest short-term debt. Oh, the demolition, it wouldn't happen to be.
Yeah, it's the old one, high demo.
All right.
Your bond anticipation notes out, and they're come due, and we have to pay it. There's not-
Oh, okay.
so you have the exact number there, it's 19,009 of the 24 is interest on the bond anticipation note.
Do we need to increase this? next year?
Yeah.
We should be okay.
I don't like the way you said that, John.
Well,
We should be.
you never know. We have that $5,000 swing in there, and that's pretty much what we had, what we might have to pay in interest. We don't always know exactly what capital project we're going to get short-term borrowing for. It just depends on where it is in the queue and how far we advance on it. So Don and I spent quite a bit of time talking about it. And we kicked around a couple of different numbers, and we think the 5,000 will do it, the extra 5.
Okay.
Okay. And same question to another one that, for a person that seems to have responsibility for some rather large tickets. Training and certification, is that sufficient? It just seems so small.
The treasurers don't, their cost to attend their annual educational conference is very minuscule.
Oh, is it?
And it's because the banks subsidize some of the cost, I believe,
Okay, that's kind of cool.
to their association.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that's a good thing. He likes subsidies. I love subsidies.
Oh, yeah.
They're great. They're cool. Subsidies usually do rather well for us, except when somebody takes the money away on the other side. Just saying. All right. And her assistant also is offered to, the assistant to go.
Well,
as well?
Don's assistant is full-time as opposed to Sandy's, who is part-time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know that Dawn is, I don't think Dawn is sent her training to do
No, I
offhand,
think-
but it's. I think
Training's
it's-
good is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Training's always good. Always
It
good.
is. I agree.
Always something, as silly as any training may seem, there's always something to be taken from it,
Yeah.
even if they bring coffee. That's what it is. All right, any other questions? Seeing and hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Make a motion to approve the budget for telephone, internet, email services, department number 152, comprised of expenses only of $20,900, an increase of 7.73% over last year.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for Department 152, telephone, internet, and email services in the amount of $20,900, comprised of expenses only. All right, there it is, Jane.
Spectrum. We'll see if we do the copies that we have.
Electric car charging station. How come we need internet access to the electric car charging station? Just asking. It's not
It's for, because you have to use your credit card to use the station.
Oh,
so you
no
need an
kidding.
internet connection, yeah.
That's kind of cool. Do we make any money on this thing?
Oh, you're kidding, no.
No,
But it's
we
free.
lose money.
But if the Green,
We haven't-
the Green New Deal goes through and everybody has to drive electric cars, will be
We'll be in
Well,
shape.
yeah,
ready.
ready. Yeah, but are we gonna make any money on this
No,
thing?
we're not
Really?
making any money. And
No.
we
We're
get charged
charging-
a $7 fee every month, but they don't charge it to us until we have enough revenue in there to pay months at a time, let's say. So we probably make $45 a year, $50 a year.
One thing we should do probably is
God, this is a-
go up on the, it's an hourly rate. You can adjust that and go up a little bit. Yeah.
Hourly
What is the hourly
rate
rate?
for the charge?
For the charge.
Okay. See, I don't know a lot about how you charge.
What is
For
it?
the charge.
I'm not really sure.
Um,
And you don't
reaching
like
back.
pay for the, apparently you don't pay for the watts or kilowatts or whatever it takes to stuff a battery full. You don't pay it like that. You
No,
just pay for a time.
You pay by, you could try to get a rough equivalence, but you pay it by the hour, and I think it's $1.50 an hour or something. My recollection is right.
$1.50 an hour?
Something like that.
With an hour
Is this
spent
cheap?
charging their
Doesn't
car.
it
I
seem
don't really.
cheap?
Home.
Huh?
You know, if you had it at your own home,
Yeah,
I have no idea what it costs. I don't know if that's great or,
You can have
I'm
it at
gonna-
your own.
Yeah,
I'm
you can
gonna
have
ask
it
my-
as something
I'm gonna ask a
plug
friend of mine's got
installed,
a Tesla.
but I don't know
I'm
what
gonna
it
ask him.
costs.
You know who that is.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, does it really?
That's it.
yeah.
From, yeah, it's Tesla. Yes, that's good. I'm surprised you don't have a Tesla.
Yeah, right.
I think he's got it out there. He just found it out.
Now you're good?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, anyway, let's see,
Yeah,
there's one
internet.
other thing I was wondering.
Internet is for the senior center too.
Oh, that's all I
I'll
have.
have to find the electric car station.
It's over there.
That's not-
Yeah.
It's all here.
Oh, it is.
Everybody's
Cheap email accounts.
Anybody that has internet.
Microsoft, that
Oh, yeah,
email,
you got it right there.
Yeah.
that's actually not bad.
60 email accounts.
For 60 email accounts, that's actually pretty cheap.
What are you talking about?
The email accounts, you get 60 email accounts for $245 a month, that's cheap, cheap. I'm paying a lot more than that.
You should get on
It's
this.
$350 an email plus an admin.
What's he doing over there?
I'm sorry?
That's Microsoft Hosted Exchange.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, of course, kind of similar, what .gov was gonna charge for our emails too, using the same Microsoft Hosted Exchange.
Yeah, Mitch had looked into it and kind of come up with this thing, wasn't it, Mitch? Or was it you?
Yeah, no, it was Mitch.
Yeah,
Yeah, those,
that was pretty good. That's why we have the, well, you see my email coming out with .gov on it.
Hmm.
Set-
So it's about the same price,
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
.gov and this.
Yeah, this is probably a little more, might be even a little more powerful because the Gov probably has other restrictions.
I don't know, have the same, it's 365 Hosted Exchange, so I don't know. But it is what it is.
Yeah. How's the email server working for you? Good?
Yeah.
no problems, yeah.
No problem?
Pretty good.
Yeah. No, I just, like data sizes and things like that, they're going through the email system, you haven't had any shortcomings at all? Cool.
No.
All right.
You mean the size of data that we send over the email, is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Oh.
some of them have restrictions. I haven't had, any email I've sent, I haven't had a restriction.
Right, it's gotta be a
I've sent some
gigantic
pretty big
file.
ones.
If I had a if you get a really, really big file, sometimes it won't.
Yeah, the thing will choke
transmit it,
on
but
it.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
rarely though.
Right. Are there any further questions? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Here we go.
Make a motion to approve the budget for computers department number 157, comprised of expenses only of $17,000, an increase of 47.83% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 157 computers in the amount of $17,000 comprised of expenses only. Right. I've actually been kind of working on this with Pat.
So the computer maintenance, is that an annual, or is that locked into like a 3-year agreement or something like that? Is there
There's no
something you
agreement, it's an
change?
hourly rate, whatever, when you call them in,
Okay.
yeah.
And that rate is subject to change every year or whatever happens to be?
We,
You can't get a quote on that for a
well,
year?
we're,
Does that work out better than having like a yearly one?
We,
go ahead, Ken.
well,
I know,
it's
we're
been-
coming at them.
those are very good questions, because it's been in a state of flux, and that's one of the things we're working on with the community compact grant we got from the state. Take a look at our IT systems. So we've gone through the first part of that, which was have the state's contractor come in and look at what we're doing. And now the next part is we've got an RFP out there to get a company to take a look at this. So I've been reluctant to kind of sign on. In fact, we had for a long time, we had 2 vendors, and I don't know if Clint still does any work.
No.
So, because really of my inexperience with this and my reluctance to sign up with somebody for a longer period of time, I just watched, we've had a couple of vendors and I just watch what they do. And so that's where we're at with it, and we hope to solve that this year.
Yeah.
So just feeling it out, just kind of getting a feel for it and see.
Right.
And then if you're,
Right.
okay.
So we don't have a contract with the vendor, we don't have to fire the vendor, we can just go somewhere else right now, if that's what we want to do. But my hope in the near future is that what we'll do is put out an RFP and we'll sign a contract, a multi-year contract. And we can't sign over a 3-year contract.
So you're just getting a
My-
feel
my-
for what costs can be yearly then.
Right.
Just judging with the discussions that I've had, I've been in discussion with many people within the organization, trying to get a handle on this budget, because this budget used to be, well, you could see $11,000. This organization has 50 computers in it, with a budget of $11,000. And that's, as we all know, computers are much more expensive than that to just simply operate on. So they've, in anticipation of trying to maintain the system, because we've found computers that were as much as 10 years old within the organization. So with that, what we're working on is trying to get the budget gradually up to speed, instead of dropping a lump on everybody and saying, oh my God, what did we just do? It's more of a kind of a, and Ken's been great at it, it's more of kind of a calculated increase to kind of bring the whole system up to speed. I think with this grant, there may be some availability for
There's
hardware
follow-on.
and other
Yeah.
things like that.
For Mike's benefit, because he doesn't know this part of it, when we did the state consultant came through and looked at all our computers, he outlined which ones needed to be done. So at the last special town meeting, I was talking about that one in June, we had 17,000 appropriated to take care of, calculate what those computer costs were. Now we've been starting to switch some of them out. And so, yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah, it is improving. I think that's the best part about it, is it's actually kind of a budget that a former member, Don Zapopolo, and I, every year we pick on it, for one reason or another. The two of us would be picking on this budget. And actually now there's some movement on the budget, which is really good. How much was that grant for that we were going for? Do you remember?
Well, this one is $10,000. There's two pieces. One is to kind of look at our IT systems as they are in place, another one to look at cloud storage, data storage for them.
Yeah,
So just to see, compare what we're doing against best practices, and kind of give us an outline of how we got to go forward. That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, these are, they're, excuse me, I think they're actually looking at some off-site backup as well. I don't think we do any off-site backup
What do we
at
have
this
for backup?
time.
We've got
We have
some.
server backups, but I don't think do we have off-site backup?
Yeah, there's, the assessors are all backed up off-site, so is your data, isn't it? It doesn't go off-site. Assessors, I know.
The assessors is through Mitch also.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all.
And so is in the
because
police department.
In speaking with Mitch, he was trying to encourage some off-site backup.
Right. We had, this is an interesting story, I don't want to get way up because we have so much to do. But the state was building a state-of-the-art IT center in an old school in Springfield. And we were very excited about the possibility of just, moving our data down there to have off-site backup because it's so important. And that just fell off the,
Oh, that
Basically,
died,
yeah.
huh?
we don't know where it
Because
is.
the DOT was supposed to be involved in
Yeah,
it. They had.
every community could get involved in it. We had the IT guy come up and speak to the Berkshire Town managers about what they were doing and how we could get involved in this.
Wow.
Put our own servers down there or
Oh,
just
I gotta talk to Polly about that.
nothing.
I know a guy that was involved with it. I gotta talk to him about that,
Yeah.
find out what happened. Sounds like the thing fell off the edge of the earth.
It did.
That's not good. They had a building and everything. It was a huge building.
That's right.
Full of servers.
Yeah.
Just look, yeah. Yeah, that's all that building was gonna do.
Yeah.
It was crazy what they were gonna do. And they even had it funded. It was crazy what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
Good, crazy, it was great.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop.
I remember
Yeah.
stuff from
We must have some sort of backup.
about the next round of
We
community
do.
compact.
It's on local servers.
Is
We
it
don't have backups on the local
Is that
servers.
what
We
you
have
did?
some
Some
backup.
for this.
We have
Some.
some.
There's a
Some.
gene
Town hall is a
problem
problem.
if you do it.
Town hall is a
Specific
problem.
IT,
Push
if it's
It's been
gene
down
problem.
there. Yes.
That's what we're done.
They had
Probably
that
should
big
try
trying
but then
to
we
construct the
apply
server.
for an IT grant. you know, what
There's
it is.
actually, just one, that's part of the discussion is Mitch, and that was the name of that company that we talked about earlier. I think he's even given us a proposal for computer maintenance. I think along the
Yeah,
way
he
he did, that was in discussion with Pat. Pat had mentioned that he had given us a proposal for that. So there is a proposal out there, but I think we're waiting on a little more knowledge about what's needed before we can address the
Before I
proposal.
jump, yeah, it was fairly expensive, in my opinion, that's why I wanted to get through the state grant process.
Absolutely.
And figure out what the hell
Right,
we're
right.
going.
Makes sense.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, it's good, it is, computer maintenance, I think is gonna be expensive on
It's
this.
really expensive if you have a problem.
Well,
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
the thing is, if we lose something, it may be expensive when we're looking at our budgets. It may be expensive looking at our budgets, multiply it by that by 4 or 5 times if you have
More.
one little critical glitch. So that could get really ugly, really fast.
Are you talking about a virus?
Well, not just a virus, a hardware failure too. Hardware failures can send things a little sideways as well. So we could, that's the whole, that's why computer maintenance has become over the years such a vital piece of an organization, especially an organization this size and bigger.
I mean, you can't imagine this, rebuilding
Rebuilding
your
what you do.
databases and
Oh my God,
programs.
trying to rebuild that would be
That's
crazy.
what you have backup for,
and where's the backup kept?
huh?
Where's the backup?
In the vault?
It's a hard disk,
Mm-hmm.
put in the vault
Mhm.
every night?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Somewhat.
It is what it is.
If the vault survives the fire.
Oh.
That's what is fireproof.
That's what they
To a
say.
certain amount of-
Doors this thick.
That's what they say. So,
But
but when it comes down to computers, this budget's gonna be
It's slow,
changing.
yeah, but it's slowly getting
It's,
there.
we're, Pat and Ken have been working on it, and it's, we'll see incremental increases in this to come. I think it'll be,
You guys certainly know.
yeah, so you can identify with that, that's,
So these two here that we did.
These are, looks like these are actually included in this budget.
Are included in that.
Yeah, it looks like it's
550.
pretty-
Okay,
Right.
that's all.
So that's good.
They're obsolete after 3 years of government service.
Yeah.
I would prefer to see a little bit bigger uptick in the maintenance, but
It's a step.
do we,
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is
step
a
in the right
step.
direction.
Mhm.
I don't,
Yeah, not bad.
I'm okay with it, I guess. I have to be. Okay.
Any further discussion?
Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Not bad. Getting a little wordy, Bill. Let's move it. We got a lot tonight.
Next.
Make a motion to approve the budget for tax title foreclosures, Department number 159, comprised of expenses only of $2,500, level funded from last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 159 tax title foreclosures comprised, or in the amount of $2,500 comprised solely of expenses.
Doesn't look like it gets used too much in the last couple of years.
It's coming.
That's right, because the properties were auctioned a few years ago, so we don't have anything right now.
There's nothing right now?
Where do the lawyer fees for foreclosures go?
I think it's in the treasurer's
The treasurer.
budget.
Oh, it's not in legal services?
Well, I think she maintains account, we gotta go back and look. I think it's in,
Tax title expenses.
yeah, in her budget, right?
8350.
Yeah. So we maintain a small budget there, but we have a general legal services budget of $60,000.
So if she were to expend that budget during her fiscal year, would you just simply tap into the other one? Or would you do a transfer, reserve fund transfer? I'm
First
just
off,
asking.
I've never seen this budget be spent all up, okay? And second of all, I think probably the best place to go would be legal,
Yeah.
because that's
Right.
the same kind of thing.
Absolutely, I agree. Okay, cool. The reason I'm asking that is I happen to see the tax title list a lot longer than I'd like to see. Not a good one.
But when this says the account is used for maintenance of properties acquired through foreclosure, that's not maintenance, meaning upkeep of the property?
Yes, physical
It-
maintenance.
It is including the boarding up windows or
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah.
takes.
Securing the building.
Securing it, okay.
Like, wasn't it a couple years ago, like heating it in the winter for one building or something one time?
Yeah, we had a house that was in good shape,
Yeah.
and we had to heat it and secure it. I
Those
remember
costs can
that.
add up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the 9 lands of low value mean?
We, sometimes they get in the tax title, what happens if people don't pay their taxes, it moves from the collector's desk to the treasurer's desk, and it goes to tax title. So sometimes you get these little strips of land around the town, and it's really not worth foreclosing on because it'll cost you, far more than you can ever get back in taxes. So that's what we have on the list right now, 9 lands of low value, and the other 25 properties in tax title.
Let me ask you a question about that. They're small pieces of land. The abutters to that property,
Yeah?
could the abutters be approached and if there was a willingness with the abutter to take the property over? Would that be something that we should take a look at to get this 9 lands of low value down? Would that,
I haven't really, the honest answer is I haven't spent much time thinking about it because of to take that to land court is a horrendous problem. That's where you have to go to get clear title to
Right.
it. So maybe you could sell it,
Oh, I
some
see.
communities sell the tax titles, and maybe the abutters would be interested, but if you have to sell it, you have to open it up to the world, and we haven't done that. Typically, we take a property, we go to land court, we get clear title to it, and we auction it.
Right.
How many of those are commercial? Do you know?
All the strips of land, no, I haven't looked
Oh,
carefully.
all right.
Or
Okay, I
like
was just
really
curious.
teeny strips of
Yeah.
land, like the taxes are $20,
oh, yeah.
$30.
Oh,
So
Oh,
this was
absolutely.
dated
that's
way
just
back.
like,
It-
yeah,
it-
now I
yeah.
see what you mean.
It costs us more to maintain that 9 lands of low value line here than it does for the value of the property.
Probably.
That's what I'm saying.
But
It's
the
like, wow.
taxpayer isn't paying the bill.
I know, I
So-
get it, yeah.
So that's why it's in tax title.
Right.
Yeah.
It's in
Costs
foreclosure.
Right,
Costs us
it's
more to
a
maintain
parcel
it.
that somebody's not paying on.
It costs us more to maintain it in tax title than it does to simply, here, you can have it, get away from me.
We couldn't do that.
And we can't do that.
Right.
Rules.
That's ridiculous.
I thought there was a shortcut, apparently there isn't.
You mentioned government versus.
That's exactly the point, yeah, in government, in government, you can't do that, but in the corporate world, you can do that, so. You just say, nah, it's mine, go away, just take it, yeah, just go ahead and take it. Is there any further discussion on the tax title foreclosures?
No.
Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the budget for Building and Grounds, Department number 192, comprised of salaries of $61,684, expenses of $14,055, for a total budget of $75,739, an increase of 3.86% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 192, Buildings and Grounds, in the amount of $61,684 salaries, $14,055 in expenses, for a total budget of $75,739. Is there any discussion?
So what is that $2,500 price for the electric charging station?
That's the electric bill.
Is it?
Yeah, so you saw the internet and telephone. This is the
So you
electric
get,
bill
how
for it.
much is it for an hour of charging? Seven?
But I said I thought it was, my recollection was $1.50. So we had to go up to about $100 an hour.
But regardless, I mean, even if we don't charge, you still gotta pay those bills. Some towns
Well,
don't charge
that's
at
what
all.
I'm thinking here.
Yeah,
This thing's costing us $4,300 a year,
Minimal.
and we're charging it.
How many cars?
Minimal.
Yeah, how many,
How many cars do we
what
have?
do we make in a
I-
year?
I just receipted in something and there was probably 25 transactions on it, but it was from July to December, or November. July to November,
Half a year.
25 transactions
5 transactions a month.
in 4 months.
So, well, that didn't include July, August, September,
4
October,
months.
November.
5 months.
And we have that electric card in
I have no idea, what do other places charge?
It's-
Charge us
This is-
for
doesn't the
That's
town-
2008, they gotta use 2,800.
In Lennox, it's free.
67
In a lot
hours.
of towns, it's
Before
free.
that,
In
they
Williamstown,
need to
it's
pay
free.
for.
And you don't have to be a member of the town. You can be
Anybody can
out of
drive up to
state.
a flight.
2,867 hours a year have to be used on that thing to pay the bill at $1.50 an hour? Oh, God.
People better start buying electric cars.
Let it go. Do we have any idea how many hours that has been used?
No,
I
we-
just know you
By
feel.
transaction.
Transactions.
Transactions.
We see well, all we really see is the cash come in, right, when somebody uses it. I mean, we get a report. There was a sophisticated module, software module we could have put in it that would have identified the car and done all this other kind of fancy stuff. It's just too damn expensive.
Oh,
Energy
yeah.
We're good.
Jeez, this thing's pretty expensive to start with. But they were kidding, they gave it to us, didn't they?
They gave us the 2 cars and they gave us a charging station.
At a $4,300 a year cost.
Well, how much do you think those cost?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I get it. Wow. Oh, man.
It's a lost leader.
It's a lot.
I'm all down with green, but that's a lot of green we're spending.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about the station, I don't mean to belabor this, but if you have an electric car, it'll charge your car twice as fast as a household current. There's a lot of current going in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those high-speed, the Tesla high-speed type. There actually aren't that many other than the
That's
Tesla.
probably confusing.
Ooh,
The Tesla guy.
that could be. But it's from almost empty, it'll charge the entire car up in 20 minutes, I think,
So
something
that's
like
right.
that.
It'll charge about, so when we have that little electric car, if I bring it down there and it says your car will be charged in 8 hours, it'll charge it in 4.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Do we,
really.
do we advertise that we have that?
We
Charging station?
haven't, we were announcing it at the end of select board meetings, but we haven't lately, we really should. You know?
Yeah.
Posted on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Put a
good.
sign on Main Street, put a sign
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, with an arrow.
Yeah, you know what's funny, you know what's funny about that
No, it
is,
is
you can
true.
have signs made from the DOT, put them on the street, but you have to pay for the sign.
Yeah.
And then, and then.
Another cost.
Yeah, right, exactly. Another cost, then you have to maintain it too.
Right, put it on the
Ah, yeah, so that's another kid. But anyway, is everybody pretty happy with this budget, I see?
Yes.
Okay, so the building and grounds assistant, she works for the highway as well?
Yes, so the job is split between the two
Just,
departments.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, I didn't know how, because I know Pat, the paperwork levels increased on Pat quite a bit, so I didn't know, has she been able to spend more time over here? Kind of fill in the void for
No,
me?
you know, John
I'm
and,
just asking.
no, John and Pat just, they just kind of work it out. but
They
the
work it
idea
out.
is They split the time of the
Yeah.
assistant.
Nice person.
Yeah, so and everybody, you know, that's a job that we've had, and we've had a succession of people in it, and we left it vacant for a while, now we filled it again, we have a very good person, we think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's catching on very
so,
quick.
okay, cool. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous.
I make a motion to approve the budget for Town Hall, Department number 196, comprised of salaries of $2,200 and expenses of $95,600 for a total department budget of $97,800, increase of 7.47% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for budget 196, Town Hall, in the amount of $22,200 salaries and expenses of $95,600 for a total budget of $97,800. All right. The top one's the salaries, just to let you know, that's the baseline. The salaries weren't.
Right, that's the
Up a
budget
couple
you
$100 bucks.
amended tonight.
Right, right.
How old is the boiler?
That's a big question.
Well, there's two on the other side of that wall that are 18 years old, and I know that the because we replaced them the first year I was here. There's one down the hall that heats the library and the upstairs of the town hall. It's pretty old. We replaced the burner, I thought it was 5 or 6 years ago, almost 10 years ago, but the boiler itself is, maybe it's 40 years old, I'm not sure. 50 years old, maybe. And it requires a lot, that requires a lot of maintenance. In fact, Pat was in today telling me about some work we had to do on it. So we can-
I have a question.
yeah.
Well, something was brought to my attention a while ago about biomass. I happened to hear it at a meeting, and a gentleman brought it up. I'd have to find out who that person was. But I wonder if we would be eligible for a biomass boiler. Basically, it burns chips with a lot less, they say it's comparable to natural gas, actually, in cost of operation. They say it's very comparable, but we, first off, it would update the boiler, and secondly, we'd be using a renewable such as chips. I wonder if he mentioned, the gentleman mentioned that the feasibility studies, the Department of Environmental Management or somebody will pay for the feasibility study,
Mhm.
and then Department of Agriculture has a subsidy to buy the boiler and install it.
And who's gonna put the chips in?
Or they come with a truck, they put them in a hopper, and the hopper puts them in.
Probably have to have a silo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's actually was what he described was pretty impressive. I looked it up online. It's actually, they've got some pretty big things, but I didn't see any of the subsidies.
What are the chips made
Wood.
The wood chips.
Pellet
I
steel.
actually,
It's
when
like
I
a
was
pellet steel.
snowmobiling in Maine, I went by one of those. It was they used wet, they were using a different kind of chip, but it was actually pretty impressive. The place was huge, and they just had these mountains of chips, but they were making electricity. But it was kind of a pretty impressive operation. It was clean. I was amazed. I would have thought it wouldn't be clean, but it was a very clean operation. I was rather impressed. So.
Sure, there's subsidies out there for new boilers.
Yeah, once a boiler's over 20 years old, there's all kinds of
That's what you
subsidies.
get off. That's not-
Just have to look.
I'm just looking at 6,000, we'll do that in 2 years, and
Yeah.
there's 12, you already bought your boiler. I'm just thinking.
What was $6,000 in repairs? Yeah. Once they hit 20 years, once a boiler hits 20 years old, if you have to make a major repair on them, generally it will pay for itself during its life, and more than pay for itself by updating the boiler. That's the general kind of rule of thumb. So we should take a serious.
When we had the energy audit done a few years ago, part of the Green Communities program, the recommendation was to switch those boilers out in there to natural gas, and then to switch, of course, the library boiler out, which is old, it's already natural gas, but to turn the front part of the building is still steam heat,
Right.
and convert that into a hot water system like we have down here. But anyways,
Okay.
A lot less
that was a
maintenance on it.
recommendation.
Maybe Mass Save would have, Mass Save doesn't like to hear that they're not gonna use natural gas. Mass Save don't like that. They like natural gas, so, all right. Okay.
Because we got articles to do too, guys,
Yeah,
so wrap it up.
I know. All right. Is there any further discussion on the town hall budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the budget for Central Supply, Department number 197, comprised of expenses only of $16,000, level funded from last year.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for Department 197,
Yeah.
Central Supply, in the amount of $16,000 comprised of expenses only. No increase. Computer supplies.
They went down.
I just don't know how they, yeah,
Oh, I see what they did. This is- all right.
moved it down to the other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Office equipment first.
Budget seems to be pretty well spent.
Yeah, work it out.
Yeah, they spend it
Yeah,
every
they
year.
do work it out.
Spend it every year and then some. But I take some budget back. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Find out why they're. Yeah, spend it out.
Yep.
Is what it is.
Right.
All right. Are there any other questions about central supply?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget for Board of Health, Department number 510, comprised of salaries of $50,589 and expenses of $1,926 for a total department budget of $52,515, an increase of 21.68% over last year.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded for Department 510, Board of Health, in the amount of $50,589 and $1,000 of salaries and $1,926 in expenses, for a total budget of $52,515. Any discussion?
What was, yeah, thank you.
Essentially, it's more hours by the
You want
health
to increase
agent.
his hours.
So the health agent has been at 30 hours. Right.
Having to catch this on the selectmen's meeting.
Oh, you saw it, yeah. So he approached me about going to
His letter's
more
attached.
35, his letter's attached, they're explaining what's going on. And beyond that, there are other parts of the budget that he can help me with, like in the transfer station, the stormwater management, those kinds of things.
So Ed's the,
Health
he's
agent.
our health agent, correct?
Yeah, I'm paying the health agent. Yep.
So like, for instance, Title V inspections, he oversees that,
Yes.
things of that nature?
You could do sealer of weights and measure.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was just
put
kind of
faith
thinking
into
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ed, I don't know if Ed would go along with that, but it's not necessarily a bad idea.
That's John.
That's John.
It's John.
John, yeah.
He's going to school for that.
Yeah, he's going to see the weights and measure school. That's kind of cool.
John Ruffey, yeah, he was appointed to do that.
Kinda cool.
Can't do that now.
All right, I'm gonna go just take a peek at the letter.
But Williamstown, they do that.
They do.
Yeah,
Kind of see how it ties in.
right.
To discuss housing code violations, continue to increase every year. Yeah, there's a good example.
Yeah.
An example of why you want to be careful with your tax budget. There's a good example. Housing code violations are continuing to increase every year. People aren't maintaining their building. I'm sorry.
Dalton Division, I left you. Oh, there's a second.
What's that?
She asked where the Tamarack house was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know that one?
Yeah, we know
I
that.
know that one really well. New food code was recently adopted by the state. Well, he works with the Stormwater Committee?
Yeah, he's on the Stormwater Management Commission.
Really?
As part of this change, I've asked him, because there's no one there really to administrate the affairs of the Stormwater Management Commission, so that will be part of his new responsibilities to make sure it's done. John Ruffey chairs it.
With the sewer, with the whole sewer thing that we've got
Right.
going on,
Yeah,
would it behoove us to move him? That's kind of a Board of Health, it's a health issue, when you think about it, it's a.
yeah, sewers are,
Sewers would be.
right.
Yeah, it ties in.
Right.
Wouldn't we increase his duties, I suppose, for lack of a better thing to call them, with relationship to the sewer infiltration and all that
Yeah.
other business that we've been dealing with?
Yeah, you're right on, Bill, that's what we discussed.
Why
So-
only 5 hours? That's what
It's all
I'm
good.
beginning
She's
to
already
wonder.
at 30.
He's already at 30.
Yeah, so that's our base, Bill. That's the base, it's 35 hours, you know? I mean,
I know what it takes to do that work, that's why I'm asking. It just, the thing is, I'm trying to do a full-time operation with a part-time staff, that's what I'm thinking.
They're 35 is full-time.
Okay, 35 is full-time, I'll let it go. I'm good. I'm good, I'll let it go.
Very
Is
good.
there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion
Okay,
passes
Bill, it's
unanimously.
7 o'clock,
Thank you.
just letting you
I
know.
know, I see my watch.
Make a motion to approve the budget for Council on Aging, Department number 541, price of salaries of $108,746 and expenses of $40,422 for a total department budget of $149,168, an increase of 3.94% from last year.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for Department 541, Council on Aging, in the amount of $108,746 for salaries and $40,422 for expenses, for a total budget of $149,168. Seems like it's all the, seems like it's only the steps and 2%. Electricity went down, what's the deal with that?
We should turn the lights off.
Yeah. Well, remember, we just went through that.
Are we
whole-
making that, are we making them wear coats over there now?
Good.
Let's get your coat on.
We'll take a look at the historical data and see why it's going down.
Okay, hysterical data, we can do this.
They had the building repairs were up about $5,000. Was there planned work or?
Which one are you looking at, Mike?
I think she changed it
Building
to
repairs.
Building
equipment
repairs?
repairs. I think she moved some money from that. too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're looking at
The plan.
historical?
Yeah, it's historical.
Yeah.
Building repairs are up in the projected budget.
But she took some money, I think, from equipment repairs and moved it down there.
Yes. Mhm.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes.
No?
Equipment repairs and maintenance.
Went down by 2.
Went down by 2.
By 2.
Oh, you mean in this budget?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Equipment repairs are down.
Equipment repairs went.
Building repairs were up.
Yeah.
Yep. The building repairs, that's the janitorial service that we have now, that we had in town hall, and we added responsibilities to the company that does the janitorial service. That's where it is in the budget.
Boy, halfway through the year, we didn't even use that. Interesting. There's a lot of it. Is it, any other questions or concerns about the budget? The whole building repairs and maintenance thing, how old is that building? Do you remember?
9 years old.
Oh, not 10, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to put any sidewalks in?
Sidewalks in good shape.
Okay, all right, I just didn't know if we had any kind of maintenance that we're beginning to see at that age. We might start to begin to see some maintenance needed on that building. No, we're not?
Well, there's a lot of, we did the work on the HVAC system.
Yeah, we redid
replaced
all of that.
controls and optimized, and that's one of the reasons the electricity costs are down.
Right.
And there's certain things that need to be done. Yeah,
Cool.
okay. Yeah.
They have the new tiles in there now, so it's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Acoustic
The new
tiles.
acoustic tiles.
Acoustic tiles,
Yeah.
good.
Acoustic
Very
tiles.
nice.
It's not like
Very
you're
nice.
standing in the
Very
middle.
nice.
of-
Is it working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very
Oh,
nice.
yeah, yeah, that was a good move.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a page 3 attached here that talks about sources and use of funds.
Yeah, glad you brought that up, Jeff.
Can you,
I asked, there's a couple of departments in town, this one in the library that have other sources of funding, so I have the department heads put together sources and uses of funds, so you get the big picture. Because the budget is bigger than the general fund appropriation.
they actually bring some revenue in from other
Yeah,
sources.
from other sources.
And the van drivers are paid through a grant too, right? Part of that comes from the grant?
Part of it comes from the state grant, and part comes from the
Yeah.
general fund. And so you can see, if you look at the sources and uses, you look at van drivers, you can see where the money comes from. Some comes from the transportation revolving, I think.
Right.
Yeah, the formulary grant.
Yeah.
'Cause some people pay to use it.
Everybody pays, but they also get a grant every year depending on how many seniors I think it is in
Yeah.
town.
I think it's, yeah.
Don't they get money through the BRTA, right? Isn't that where some of that comes from?
Well, the BRTA provides the van.
Oh, they
But we have to
Subsidies,
maintain it, right?
Yeah, we maintain it and they provide
Yeah,
it.
And we get a reimbursement from them too.
Yep.
And I'm not exactly sure how that works. But they get, every month they get a reimbursement.
Cool. Pretty good.
Wouldn't that show up in here?
It goes in the 240 transportation revolving account.
Oh, it's-
Oh, shit. That's not even-
Transportation revolving, yeah. 13.
Yeah, so it's just, it's bundled together.
Part of that, 1336.
Not very much then.
BRTA's. They struggle, I was on that committee for a little while, they talked about struggling with funding. They're still being funded at a 2015 level in the BRTA. It's kind of scary what's happening over there. They just, for whatever reason, the BRTA doesn't, they struggle with funding. They really do.
Yeah, we do.
We're gonna
They
talk
they
about
fight mightily
grabbing
for
some
that.
of this, more of
Each year, I
this.
had to leave that to become the chairman
general fund.
of this department, of this committee.
Growing.
It's a lot, actually, over
What's
the
that?
being on the
That's
BRTA
Oh,
committee,
that's the program.
it actually is a lot,
That's the coupon.
it's a little
Yeah.
more
Coupons
time
and stuff
consuming
like
than
that.
it appears.
So we
It's
get
a once a month
50%,
meeting.
they get 50%.
Oh, is that how
But-
we set it up?
You have a lot of other things.
It's growing
that you have
and
to
it's just sitting there.
follow, so that you can be prepared for that meeting. Yeah, oh yeah, you get constant emails and
It's either that or one
people
of the
call you
coupons.
because you're a representative.
I
But
can
yeah,
find something
it's
to spend it on.
pretty,
They're doing
it's
that.
pretty, kind of pretty intense. But it's like- It was a lot more time consuming than I thought it was
I mean,
gonna be.
because there's a lot of
But
grants.
you
They
know,
could have spent all that equipment. but-
consider it even
but you got
warning.
grants.
I wouldn't
To be
imagine.
honest with you.
I wouldn't imagine. Okay.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the budget, excuse me, for library department number 610. Total salaries of $133,640 and expenses of $67,805 for a total department budget of $201,445, an increase of 2.97% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 610 Library in the amount of $133,640 salaries and expenses of $67,805 for a total budget of $201,445. Any discussion?
Looks like it's just a normal increase.
It's a little higher on the salaries, 4.5%.
There probably is some steps.
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
there's some steps.
See the step increase?
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like there are a couple steps in there.
You can see too, at the bottom, just to remind everybody, and I know Mike doesn't know this, down the bottom, this is the only department that has maintenance of effort imposed upon them by the state grant that they get. So they have to take the 3 years prior, divide it by 3, and then they get a 2.5% increase over that. So their minimum budget has to be $198,000. We exceed that. And if you don't do that, then you end up losing your state aid.
Yeah, that's why it's difficult. In times of trouble, we actually looked at closing, part-timing our library and reducing that budget. And this reared kind of its ugly head, because even if you cut it in part-time and take away that grant, all of a sudden you have almost zero ability to keep the thing open. It goes from being a relatively full-time library to an almost closed library. it's really kind of scary when it comes to the libraries, because it's a full-time, what's known as a full-time public library. So it's we've been through some troubled times with these budgets.
The third
Go
piece.
down to the first page.
Third page.
Oh, yeah, it's got 62.
Yeah.
Can we see that like that?
62,000.
But it's another budget that has outside revenue
Yep.
sources,
Yes.
including the state aid we were just talking about.
Yeah, the state aid for the governor's one was 11,616 for 2020. What they're proposing.
2020 governor?
Yeah, the governor's cherry sheet for the
Yeah.
library aid
Yep.
was $11,616.
Also, we
Budget
budgeted.
must have been estimated.
Yeah. Well, we estimated
That's for
12,000.
2020 though.
We estimated 12,000. Oh, okay.
These are probably the rest. You know, they might not have had that money.
Any other questions concerning the library budget? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous, thank you.
Contracts and plans.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it is, just in that category of contracts.
So they're a little efficient.
That's
You're good.
Make a motion to approve the budget for vocational education, department number 320, comprised of expenses only of $123,798, an increase of 27.19% over last year. I'm sorry, I read the wrong column. I thought I was mixed up there.
It's okay.
The budget is comprised of expenses only of $579,168, an increase of $123,798, which is 27.19% over last year. Sorry for that.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 320 vocational education, the amount of $579,168 comprised of expenses only.
I like my first number better.
I'm gonna say I remember it being that number once upon a time.
You do?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've been
you've
around.
been here a while.
Yeah, I've been here a long time. I seem to recall it being somewhere down in that vicinity, way back when, like when I first started doing this.
Oh, it's gone up and down.
Yeah, this thing does do the yo-yo effect. This does, and this is actually a best guess by the school district. They kind of make an educated guess as to the number of students. At least that's what they've always explained it.
They send me a list
Right.
every year of the students that have been accepted and the ones that are anticipated and not accepted yet. And those normally are the ninth graders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 24 of them are in this year, with some of them still not accepted yet, let's put it that way. And it doesn't mean that come September they're gonna go either, so.
You want to flip to your third page there?
Yeah.
Yes, Bill?
Who sets the tuition rate? Is that a
Desi,
statewide?
Desi, Department of Elementary.
And all schools are the same rate?
They are now, they were not before. Pittsfield Taconic was probably 2/3 of that price. And, let's see,
Last year that was 18,
Yeah,
17, 16.
Yeah, Smith used to be extremely expensive, what you can see.
Right.
Smith was
Yeah.
always more expensive for the yearly cost, and the Department of Ed kind of came down on it.
right, and that happened in 16 is when they all went to the same
Right,
Right.
level of,
Right.
tuition rate.
yeah. And then when it dropped in 17, they got a special I don't know the word I want to call it, but they were allowed to increase more than the other two for just that 1 year because of whatever circumstances.
Yeah, I remember
know.
there was some weird,
Yeah,
some piece of weirdness that happened.
yeah. And then, so for the next couple of years, everybody's the same, and it will be that way again this time, but those rates aren't out yet, so I just budgeted a 3% increase. Just based on what's been going on.
Yeah.
Is this the same rate, say, in the Boston area?
No, they all have different rates.
Different areas?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a piece of paper that would
No.
show you that.
Now, would Northampton, or would, say for instance Smith, and young people lived in some other school district, say Gateway, we use that as an example, would that number, that
Still be the same number.
17,266, be a different number for Gateway than it is for us?
No, that's Smith's vocational education rate. That's
That's
the
their
rate
rate
of
of
wage
school. That's their rate of
Wherever
the
they
school.
go.
that we pay them.
Yeah, anybody
Right.
pays them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the school rate.
yeah.
no matter where
But
you
if
are.
there's another vocational school, I mean, I have a piece of paper that shows you what all the rates are for all the schools in
So that's
town.
Smith's rate, no matter where you live, if you went there.
There.
This is their rate.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're projecting 20 students going there next year. 10 students, I'm sorry.
No,
Is that right?
27
To
students.
Smith, I mean.
Oh, Smith, I'm sorry.
11.
11.
11 McCann, 10 to Smith.
13 for McCann and 3 for Pittsfield.
Oh, this one.
Wow, you got a brand new school in Pittsfield.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking, isn't it?
Which one are you looking at?
Must be,
That one right there, the one
that's
that's
the current year, I guess.
So
You got
You're
that.
thinking what I'm thinking.
There's
Top
a
one.
reason,
The top
there's a
one.
reason for that.
The top
Current year?
The top one is 20.
Okay,
So 11.
The one below is the current year, 19.
okay.
You gotta love it. That's a lot. When you think about voc ed, that's a pretty big budget that you really don't have a handle on. They don't, the approvals are done in, what, April?
April 1st.
April 1st. Now, does that account for even, does that budget account for if all of those are approved? Or is-
Yes,
Okay,
plus 3.
plus 3,
Plus
right.
3, right. And it may not be.
So that way, if.
So
some-
if they all go, we know we're covered. And
Right.
What
Plus-
doesn't, if some don't go,
Then we have
Then-
over budgeted.
we've over
But
budgeted.
they
Okay,
can't
good.
add any after a certain time period?
Supposed to be, you can't add any, but
Yeah.
somebody moves in to Dalton that's already attending Smith or any of the other schools, they automatically go.
Yeah. And
But if
that's it.
somebody moves out to Dalton, then that cost goes to the town they moved to. That happened with a student this year, and then halfway through the year, his family moved to Windsor, and now Windsor is picking up the portion that we had budgeted for him.
Yeah,
Actually, we used some unspent money in this account for something else last year, right?
Yeah, we've moved it. A couple of years, we've been able to really reduce it.
Right.
Sometimes we've had to increase it, but we've been more careful about budgeting.
And if sometimes we have gone to town meeting and reduced that budget before the tax rate set,
Uh-huh.
and that helps
That helps, sure.
the tax rate.
Yeah. That's all. Is there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the landfill closure / monitoring department number 433 budget. Comprised of salaries of $2,102 and expenses of $13,750 for a total budget $15,852, a decrease of 50% from last year.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve budget 433, landfill closure and monitoring, the amount of $2,102 in salaries, $13,750 in expenses, for a total budget of $15,552. $15,852. Is there any discussion?
What was that nasty EP that they,
Removal of rusty barrels.
put the one,
So special town meeting vote last June. So we didn't need it this
So we
year.
didn't need it this year.
No,
Cool. Yeah, I remember the Rusty Barrel movie.
we took care of that, so that
I remember
won't, is
talking
not
about it.
necessary for this year's budget.
Which is good.
Cool.
That was appropriated at June town meeting.
Right.
Yeah, that was the June, yeah, that adjustment. We're probably gonna go through the same thing this year, so, yeah. that'll be good. Yeah.
Not for any rusty barrels.
Not for Rusty Barrels.
No, they're gone.
Yeah, but Rusty Barrels have left.
What's the bill?
Are there any other questions? Let's see, how are we looking at spending? Just kind of debate on target, it looks like, previous years. Do we contract the mowing of that, or do we just have our boys go over?
We used to, but now our crews are.
Yeah, send our boys over there and turn them loose for a few
Yeah.
hours.
They just assign their hours to this budget.
Right.
Cool. Any other questions? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, is all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the budget for transfer station, department number 434, comprised of expenses only of $21,805, an increase of 1% last year.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to approve budget 434 transfer station in the amount of $21,805, comprised totally of expenses.
Do we get money back for recycling?
We used to,
It's not as much as we used to
just
get.
a little bit. In fact, it's quite likely we'll have to start paying every day to recycle this, which is happening in our place.
Yeah, the recycling, we used to.
We'll see this year, our
we used to-
contract's running out with Republic, so we've got to renegotiate the contract. But that's less to do with Republic, and more to do with what's going on in the materials recycling facility in Springfield, so-called MRF. And our contract with the MRF is running out too, so there's a warrant article, you'll see the first warrant article, it's the renewal contract with the MRF.
So you're saying that to recycle, people will have to pay?
Yeah, will come back to us in the user fees at the transfer station.
How much of this 21,000 comes back with our user fees? Tom, any of it?
Zero. This is what we pay. The user fees that you pay for the bags and the stickers, that goes right to
That
Republic.
goes directly to
Yeah.
Republic.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I could never figure out the pricing that they do with those things. It gets down to, it gets down to pennies. I mean, here it's 50 cents, man, close enough. It's like 40, or what was it, $3.48 or something like that for a bag? Really?
Yeah. Then that's simply because when we negotiate with them, we might agree at a 2% increase. So whatever it was way back then, you just increase it by 2%, you come up with pennies.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Scott one day, he said,
Yeah.
Scott, really? He laughed. Carry on. All right, is there any further discussion on the
You wanna
transfer station?
Just want to just go to the next 2 pages there, just for,
Oh, we have more pages. We have more pages. Okay.
somebody just specifying the rates. So it's a change in rates, excuse me, from 16 to 20.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just showing the progressive increases. Actually, not that bad, are they?
Again, the budget from last year is only up 1%, so.
Yeah. Good. Okay, further, is there any further discussion?
No.
Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
So it's 17.
Unanimously, thank you.
I'll I'll make a motion to approve the budget for sewer treatment. Department number 449, comprised of salaries of $852 and expenses of $981,053. Total department budget of $981,905, a decrease of 4.87% from last year.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded to approve Department 449 sewer treatment in the amount of $852 in salaries and $981,053 in expenses. This is what your sewer user fees pay for. A part of it. Intergovernmental sewer agreement. How come it was a reduction? I meant to ask you that the other day.
Because Sandy did a very nice job, I think, estimating this. If you go into your package, you'll see. We got some data from Pittsfield, better data than we've got in the past,
Yeah, that's good.
showing us the department. We get billed, happens on a lag. So our billing is based on last year's actual expenses. And so we've got this year's actual budget to project for next year. So you'll see in here what the city has spent on FY19 to date. And then Sandy was able to use that to come up, and the billing methodology, which you'll see is another attachment, to come up here with come up with a really good method of projecting what the expenses are. And so her estimate is $927,000, and we kind of rounded it up to $950,000 to be a little bit conservative.
Yeah. Sometimes they may round, they may round a little differently than we do, so.
The actual for that, we budgeted $1 million based on what happened in the prior year, but we only got billed for 678, I think, 678,000. So we're way down this current year from the $1 million we budgeted. But that's because in the prior year, we got whacked.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And it's always been because we just didn't get good data from the city. And they would take money off and out of their enterprise fund to pay for capital expenses. So then, it's a big lump of expenditure that gets passed through to us instead of debt service, which is, stable.
Or uniform.
Yeah.
Where's the Hinsdale reimbursement? Or is that in there?
You really don't, it's not netted out in here. You have to go to the back and look at the calculation that Sandy did back, all the way in the back.
It's not netted out because we pay it to the city of Pittsfield and then in turn commit Hinsdale to pay us.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So you see the expense side, but not the revenue side.
So the revenue
Yeah.
comes in the later page.
Yep.
Page 4 on it.
I guess this page. That's why sewer
Up
actual.
top. Is that the revenue page?
Is it
Yes,
on
it
this
is.
one, Sandy?
Yes.
Sewer user fee offset receipts. It's in that.
It's on this one.
And then it's
Oh, I
up
don't
on-
have it.
I don't want to have. There it is, rate increase.
No, it's just the 2 pages.
Because of the rates.
Yeah.
Actual revenue estimate.
Thank you.
Hinsdale sewer receipts.
Hold it out.
I got a big one.
Never mind.
Oh,
I have a big
Thank
one.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
I got one all for you.
Ah, boy, how can this simple thing be so convoluted? Holy smokes.
Convoluted?
Well, not you, it's others. I'm thinking, it's the city of Pittsfield I'm complaining about, not you. Yours is good. Yours is nice and simple, I like that. Jeepers. This is straightforward, I like this. This is you, Sandy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ken and I.
Well, this is my attempt to project out for the next 2 years to try to get a handle on what's going to happen when the city builds its new wastewater treatment plant.
So you're trying to project
It's
that.
65, I estimate 65, it's gonna be 60 to 65 million dollars, the new wastewater treatment plant. It's gonna have a dramatic effect on our
Absolutely.
sewer
Oh,
user
yeah.
fees. So I tried to calculate what the debt service would be,
Uh-huh.
and then to project the rates. If you go up to the top, Bill, you'll see the potential effect on the sewer user fee right up the top there. So in this coming fiscal year, we won't set the rate until about July, but it looks like we may have a 10% increase.
Right.
In the coming fiscal year, a 30% increase. However, I've got some updated information from the city, because I hadn't, when I did this, I was doing it based on my own estimates.
Yep.
But I got the debt service schedule, preliminary one that the city's gotten from the so-called Clean Water Trust.
Oh.
So the interest rates are lower, and I'm not sure how far they went out, and the actual projected costs for the wastewater treatment plant are lower. So it's gonna be somewhat less than I've shown, if those figures hold true, that I just told. These are preliminary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they gonna, is there any further talk about us being able to do, like, for instance, a debt exclusion or something like that, so we can pay our share of it with a lower maybe a
cost.
lower interest rate?
They've got the lowest interest rate you can get, because of
Oh, okay.
the Clean Water Trust is actually giving them the financing money at 0 interest, and then the long-term
Oh,
debt's gonna be
okay.
2%. So you can't do any better than that.
Yeah, no, that's good,
Okay.
that's perfect.
And because we don't see this as a debt, we can't, I don't know how we would do it as a debt exclusion. It'd be
Right, right.
Well, that's
interesting
what
to
I'm
try to
saying,
do
if
that.
they
We
said,
just see it
look
as
at
an
you.
expense.
Yeah, my thought process is the
Right.
city of Pittsfield could say to us, look, here's an amount that you
Represents
need,
your share
that
of it.
represents
Yeah.
your share.
Right.
Yeah.
And we go and say, okay, we're gonna go and see our bonding people and
30-year bond.
borrow our money,
Right.
and just hand them a check, basically.
I mean,
For
we-
lack of a better way to describe it.
It would be an interesting proposition if you could do a debt I suppose if we knew what the payments were gonna be, we could ask for a debt exclusion, and then that particular part of that payment might be excluded from
I
the
suppose.
levy, but it just gets added on, you know?
Right.
It'd be,
Because they're charging us for.
it's really a legal question as to whether you can do that, because it's a pass-through expense.
Right.
Sounds like-
I don't know how to
It's
answer
part
it.
of our rate, or, it's part of
Yeah.
our sewer rate.
Yeah.
It's
They're
certainly
getting
debt
it at a good
service.
cost, as good cost
Yeah.
as they can get anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not really worth the,
And, well, here's the other thing, just thinking out loud, it's a debt exclusion. This gets into our, Sandy just said it, this gets into our sewer user fee. So it has nothing to do with the tax levy, it's all about this.
right, so you don't even have to fool
Right.
around with the debt exclusion, really.
Right,
Well, we just
You'd have to talk.
move the payment into to offset the revenue coming in, so
Right,
it's the sewer rate.
right. It would
Plus
be
those
part of it.
people
It would
not
be a-
connected to sewer.
It has nothing to do, any costs in the revenue is not general fund revenue, and the expenditure is this, not general fund expense. So it doesn't have anything to do with the tax rate, our tax rate.
Right, so we would. end
Just
up-
our
it would
sewer
just be a-
rate.
Right,
Yeah, it
sewer.
would just be like a bond, I suppose, for lack of a better thing to call it. To subsidize the sewer, if you had to do that, but it sounds like we don't have to. Kind of a moot
Are you
point.
just raising the rate?
They just
Just
raise
raise
the
the
rate.
rate in this case.
Yeah.
Simply
Just
just
raise
raise
the
the rate, and then, and however long it is, then all of a sudden it'll should come back down again,
Oh, sure.
technically
In
speaking.
30 years.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Yeah.
For 30 years. we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
right, taxes.
build a whole new
That's
one.
taxes, guess what? Get them both.
It's like the turnpike.
That's right,
Tolls.
just like the tolls on the turnpike, they never come back. All right, is there any further discussion?
No.
Seeing you're hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous, thank you.
7:34, Bill.
Is there another page you want to put that in here
Just
too?
let me know what time it is. Just checking.
I don't have another meeting scheduled.
Yeah, we'll have some.
Make a motion to approve the budget for public health nurse, department number 522, comprised of expenses only of $6,167, an increase of 2.29% over last year.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded for Department 522, Public Health Nurse, in the amount of $6,167, comprised totally of expenses. We just have a contracted nurse service, right?
This is done in cooperation with the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, so-called Public Health Alliance. They administer that, and they provide our public health nursing services.
almost all of it.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good thing. Any other questions? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the budget for Parks and Recreation, Department number 630, comprised of salaries of $47,307 and expenses of $12,818. Except that I got a note on here. Let me see.
This is the one that Sandy had mentioned to us. It really is all expenses on
That's
this
right.
account,
Ah.
so
Sorry about that.
that's okay. Didn't go ahead. All right, so if you could just redo it as all expenses,
I'll-
that would be great. Sorry.
I'll change the motion to approve the budget for Parks and Recreation, Department number 630, to expenses only of $60,125,
That's correct.
which is an increase of 1.98% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the budget for Department 630, Parks and Recreation, in the amount of $60,125. Is there any discussion?
Sandy, could you just explain to them about this, because it says on ours total salaries when in fact,
I had discussion with Allison about changing it to, those are their salaries.
Right.
We give them a grant to pay for the programming of the sports and all that other stuff. And part of their costs are their salaries for it.
Right.
Excuse me. So really, to us, it's our expense, because we don't produce their payroll. It's not,
They aren't
This is just
employees
how
of-
she breaks it up, how she uses
right,
it.
They're not
yeah.
employees of the
Yeah,
town.
this
They're
is
not
just-
employees of
That's
the
right.
town.
Right, this is just an explanation
Right.
of it. The reason we use a grant is if they contracted to us, if we had a contract with them, it would fall under the guise of prevailing wage and also the bid process. Is where if we provide a grant,
Well,
it's a little different.
Hmm.
It falls under a different set of guidelines. And the reality of it is the CRA, for this portion of what we do, there are no contractors really that do that kind of work. So they apply for the grant, and we
Mhm.
give them the grant. That's kind of how it works out. And they give us a justification for the grant, which is kind of nice.
Sure.
It tells us where our tax dollars are going when it
Mhm.
comes down to the grant. You know, painting fields and people to do the scheduling and things of that nature.
all right.
So, and actually, it's kind of not a very expensive. It used to be quite a bit higher when they did used to be a lot higher actually when they did the maintenance of the fields, the mowing of the grass, and maintaining the buildings, and things like that.
Mhm.
And it used to be a lot higher.
Hmm. Sure.
We actually
What
saved
is
quite
it
a
now?
I'm not sure, I haven't really taken a look at it. Our highway department does all the parks, yeah.
That was under our
Yeah.
Sorry.
highway department.
Right,
Yeah.
that's one of the first changes. We moved it back, highway department was doing that a lot, so we moved the heavy-duty maintenance back to highway department, and we added a person.
Yeah, we've actually, the parks have been they've done a really good job at it, because it's kind of more their kind of, it's kind of the thing they do better, and then the parks and the recreation,
Right.
CRA, well, what they do is better. So now we have a kind of a really great mix of the
This
two.
is our discussion about they paint the lines, we mow the field.
Right,
Right.
right. Right. We keep them all kind of shiny and new, and they actually do some repairs on the field, some pretty big repairs sometimes on the field. Like let down the lips on the baseball fields and things like that. They actually do it.
They maintain the concessions,
We do the maintenance on the buildings.
we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so if the building needed a roof or something like that.
Everything ours.
Yeah, there are buildings anyway, so we take care of it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, and next slide, of course, is just more, this is a little more justification of what has to have what's happening right now. Okay? Okay. Is there any further discussion on the Parks and Recreation budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous, thank you. And that's a pretty, we kind of get a lot of bang for our buck with that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, really do.
This is Sandy, this next 710, wasn't that the one that
With the what?
we combined, the account on 710?
That's the borrowing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's the one we're gonna do next. Is this the one that we consolidated to,
Majority debt.
It's three different budgets, three
Yeah.
different. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Am I okay to make a motion to approve this as it's presented here?
They're-
yeah.
There's three different
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
seems like we're,
Yeah.
There's three, yeah.
710, 710 debt excluded, and 710 sewers and drains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 710, something else.
Yeah, we combined.
710,
we
just
combined-
debt
Just
excluded.
mature, just capital.
So you can go through, if you'd like, Mr. Chairman, you can go through the three 710s.
We'll go through them individually.
You can go through them individually. They'll appear as three separate items. in
Yeah.
the,
Okay. Right, so,
So we should
Right
approve them
Sounds-
separately?
Two accounts again.
You can approve them all at once, but we don't have them totaled up here, so it may be just as easy to go through each sheet.
Each sheet.
Yeah.
There it is. This is-
So I'll read them as this, as each sheet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna go on the, that town meeting thing, three different
Three.
things anyway. so.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you later.
okay, maturing debt and interest, the first one, it's 710.
So, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the budget
Yeah.
for maturing debt and interest, department number 710, comprised of expenses only of $211,689, an increase of 37.73%.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 710, maturing debt and interest, in the amount of $211,689.
These are the projects that are paid for under the tax levy. And that's why they're a separate item. So you can just look right down there, so it's the principal and the interest, so the projects appear twice in the same projects. And you can just look down, this is a capital improvement program.
Okay, so this is like
These are all
the little
capital
borrowing,
borrowings.
The small items
Small
that come out of
borrowings
capital.
that we do for
Right.
like trucks and
Yeah.
rain gutters and what have you. The cruiser.
You can see them, they're all done nicely, set out, each and every project.
About how long do we pay on these?
5 years.
5.
Typically.
I thought that was.
Yeah.
what-
These are all 5.
5 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the top line principal, or the top
Yeah.
category is principal and bottom is interest.
Interest.
Okay.
All right.
it's broken up.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah, if we approve buying something, we gotta pay for it.
Well, yeah, okay. Are there any other questions? Pretty satisfied with that?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
And I'll make a motion to approve the budget for maturing debt and interest, department number 710, debt excluded, for a total of expenses only of $270,805, a 120.16% increase. 270 from 123.
It's debt excluded, that's the next page.
Second.
We'll back up a page. Okay. Motion has been made and seconded for Department 710, debt excluded, maturing debt and interest, in the amount of $270,805. Okay, this is the
These are the bigger
engineering for
projects.
the
Projects.
Dalton division.
Yeah. So you can just look down at the projects and you can see when we borrowed. These go back to 2009.
These are kind of
The town, town hall, I think it was 20-year bond.
20-year,
Yeah.
communication center. Highway equipment must be paid off. No.
Yeah.
I think it was 10 years, right?
And south of Houstonic Streets is paid off.
Yeah.
We got the old.
Oh, the
old
demo, oh, that's
Now
the
we got-
big, now we
yeah.
got the big one.
There's a
Okay.
nugget.
And that's
There it is.
Yippee skippy.
How long is that one for, Ken?
10, I
The
guess.
old high school?
Yeah, we think it's going to be 10.
The 10.
We haven't set the debt schedule yet.
Reconstruction, that's gonna be 10?
Which,
Dalton.
Division Road.
Division
oh,
Road.
Dalton Division Road? You know what, I don't know yet because we haven't bonded for it. I think it's normally, engineering is 5.
Oh, 5?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Engineering that isn't rolled into a project.
Okay. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous. So we got one other
Right.
portion to that. Oops, I keep flipping around here.
And I'll make a motion to approve the budget for maturing debt and interest department number 710, sewers and drains. Excuse me, comprised of expenses only of $116,012, an increase of 24.5% over last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for Department 710, maturing debt and interest, sewers and drains, in the amount of $116,012. Is there any discussion?
Just like you to know that we have sewers and drains separate because that goes into the sewer user fee.
Right, right. Do we have, other than what's coming from Pittsfield, do we anticipate any further expenses relating to sewers? I'm sure we've got things coming, repairs coming.
Well, we've got one big project that'll come as a capital improvement project, which is a large engineering study called Sewer System Evaluation Survey, which is a follow-on to the infiltration and inflow study. When we get done with that, hopefully we'll have pinpointed where the infiltration is coming in, what kind of capital improvements we need to make in the sewer system, so those costs are just unknown at this point.
Yeah. So we've got some engineering coming, but other than
Engineering, but, so we don't know what the other projects might be.
yeah.
Interceptor
Yeah.
contract, do we have to
That's-
add some more to this?
You know, I think we do. Oh, we've got it in here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
she got it.
Not much.
She's got 31.
The other small
Maybe.
if you flip through.
Oh, that's.
Oh, there it is, I
That's
see.
all.
See it?
That's all they have is that.
I was looking
That's
up
it.
here.
Nobody home.
So we have one project on deck, is a repair to the interceptor sewer which crosses the Housatonic River and back of River Run. And that's just been awarded to Maximilian to repair. It's in here, but that's the one big repair we've had.
How much hazardous materials you gonna find down there?
We find nothing.
Not good, he's good like that. Out in the middle of the woods, 14 miles from anything, he manages to find it. Funny how that works. At any rate, that being said.
That's where the drain from the old Dalton High School ends up.
That's right. That's where it ends up. Oh, jeez.
It sure does.
I can't believe you said that. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. Now, I think that was the last of it, wasn't it?
That's the last of the budgets.
That's the last of
Should
the
be the
budget.
last of our budgets.
Yeah.
Now, we just have our warrant articles that we just take hopefully will not take us very long to go through. That will be, just take a quick look at them. Most of these are kind of housekeeping articles that we do during town meeting. So it's like that was just the first article. So I entertain a motion on the first article.
Sure.
All you have to do is almost read it verbatim.
make a motion, or I move that the town vote to fix the maximum amount that may be spent during fiscal year 2020, beginning on July 1st, 2019, for the revolving funds established in town bylaws for certain departments, boards, committees, agencies, or officers in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, as follows. Revolving fund account being plumbing inspector, $15,000 spending limit. I don't need that, I would rate this. Electrical inspector, $10,000. Tree warden, planning board, $5,000. Cemetery department, $2,500. Council on Aging Transportation, $20,000. Council on Aging Programs, $15,000. Cemetery department, $5,000. Excuse me, legal advertising, $3,000. Parks maintenance, $2,000. Highway department for a boom mower, $4,000. Section 53E and a half of Chapter 44 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That was the end of the motion.
That's just an
Sorry.
explanation.
Bring on the count.
Second?
A motion has been made, a motion has been made and seconded for Article 2, I'm trying to remember how Carrie used to say this.
Right.
I can't remember. A motion has been made and seconded for the town to vote to fix the maximum amount that may be spent during fiscal year 2020, beginning on July 1st, 2019, for the revolving funds established in town bylaws for certain departments, boards, committees, agencies, and officers in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, as has been stated. Is there any further, is there any discussion? It's pretty straightforward. This allows the various, just allows them, it's kind of a pass-through account where money comes in, and then kind of goes back out again. And this is what this is, it allows us to do it under.
Is this the one we just established last year, Ken,
Yes.
as a revolving fund we didn't have before?
Right.
This- Instead of doing these all individually.
We had to reauthorize them every year, so now all we have to do is reauthorize the spending limits.
Yeah, they just made that kind of a change.
Yeah.
Made it.
Expedites.
Yeah, it made it easier, it actually makes it easier here, because we used to have to do each individual one here.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty tough to do.
Tedious.
Yeah, it was really kind of poor, but, you know how we talk about doing these housekeeping things, we just took out in one fell swoop, about 12 housekeeping things. All right. Any other questions? Concerns? All right. Seeing or hearing no questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
I move that the town vote to adopt the schedule of compensation for elected officials for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 as follows. Moderator, $405. Town clerk, $53,490. Select board chairman, $4,737. Other select board members, $3,770 each.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt, for the town to adopt a schedule of compensation for elected officials for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 as follows. Moderator, $405. Town clerk, $53,490. Select board chair, $4,737. Other select board members, $3,770. Why is it finance? Oh, because it's zero. Are there any questions or concerns? Oh, it's on the last page. Yeah. Anyone have any questions? This is what I was saying earlier about housekeeping. These salaries have to be approved separately from the budgets. Are there any other questions? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
I move that the amounts of money set forth in the printed report of the Finance Committee for fiscal year 2018 and totaling $7,631,700 $650 be appropriated for the several purposes therein itemized, each numbered item being considered as a separate appropriation, and that the same be expended only for such purposes.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the amounts of money set forth in the printed report of the Finance Committee for fiscal year
Should say 2020.
2020.
Oh.
That would have been weird, huh? 2020, and totaling $7,631,650 be appropriated for the several purposes therein itemized, each numbered item being considered as a separate appropriation, and that the same be expended only for such purposes.
I have a
Is there any-
question. Is the explanation the same as in this one? Or is it different?
Yep. The
Can you talk
warrant,
about
here's the
sewer
warrant.
user fees in this?
Yeah, here's the warrant, that's the article.
He has the printed
The warrant's actually correct. Dave.
That's the warrant. You also have, here's your report. This is the report of the Finance Committee from which these numbers come that will go into the report of the Finance Committee.
What a good job.
And, well, thank you.
And
I didn't-
Is there an extra one of those?
There is.
Oh, there's plenty of extras. How many you want?
Here, you want these two?
Yeah, you're saying this
I have that.
article here,
Thanks.
Yeah.
it talks about this.
It doesn't
where
really make
here
sense.
It talks about the sewer.
Sewer user fees?
Right. This has been the motion that we worked out with town council, because each appropriation, we mentioned the sewer user fees in the warrant article. And the warrant article is just a notice of what is going to be on the town meeting agenda. But, so it's really actually the motion that governs. And remember, this is only this is a list of expenditures and not revenues. And sewer user fees are the revenue side of the equation. So, there may be a convoluted explanation, but we don't, I'm basically saying we don't need to mention the sewer user fees in the motion. We just need to mention that all these appropriations as itemized constitute a final appropriation of $7.6 million. And that the itemized, being the items, are the numbers that you see, the department numbers.
Yeah, this here will show up on the next page after
For five.
Oh, what did I get, the wrong warrant article?
I just don't
Yeah,
decide.
that-
Yeah,
that's
that's what
all.
I'm saying.
I'm going around and around.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm
Article
like,
5
4 doesn't
is
make
the-
sense with,
Article 5 should be here on this, right?
Let's see.
The explanation
Yeah.
for 4 is,
that's what I was trying to say.
really goes to the next.
4
This
is,
explanation.
The
hang
sewer.
on now.
Oh, I didn't read it.
4 is, no, the 4 is the town budget.
Right, that's the town.
That's what we're working on right now. 4 is the town budget.
Which is
But-
5 is the grant to the CRA.
But 4
But for
But
on
for
this,
on the
on the sewer.
explanations is not
What's some?
Doesn't
should
make
be-
sense.
That would be Article,
5.
we'll have to raise and appropriate fiscal year.
Sewer fees, Article
Okay,
4 on this
Article
says
4
sewer
on
fees.
this
Some
is
of
them.
the sewer user things.
For the
So Article
providing
5 should be
creation.
this explanation.
Okay.
Because Article 5 is to raise and appropriate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st of some money. Oh, it's not even Article 5.
Raise,
Where's Article 4?
appropriate,
I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Sewer user fees,
So,
compensation of elected
Did we
officials.
miss an article?
yeah,
I think
that's what it looks
so.
like.
Oh, we're missing an article.
No, wait, 5
No.
on here is the leisure, is the recreation.
5 is the grant to the CRA.
grant to CRA. Financial
4 is the town
Which is-
budget.
They
But-
agree,
Yeah, 4 is
5
not
on
agree,
this,
but
but
4
it's
doesn't,
on
4
this.
doesn't
4
agree.
doesn't.
4 is the
Yeah.
sewer user fees.
No, no,
on
4,
this.
4 is the town budget. It just mentions sewer user fees.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
See, so
Including
the town will
appropriations from
determine
sewer
what
user
Yeah,
fees.
including appropriations from the sewer
The
user
town
fees.
will raise and appropriate, including appropriations from the sewer user fees. Oh, including to defray
Including is
charges.
the word.
Including is the word.
Including is the word.
I don't like the way.
That's what we
I don't
remember.
like the way it reads.
No, because it doesn't say anything about that. Yeah. Do you agree that it?
Well,
It's a little,
it doesn't,
Yeah.
they're not the same. Aren't they supposed to be the same?
No, they don't have to be the same.
Okay.
Because that's
Typically,
seven-
But they make
Typical-
no
sums
sense.
of money the town will raise and appropriate.
right. Typically, you do use the words of the warrant article to write the motion. However, several years ago, our town council rephrased the motion and said, this is a better way to do it. So the warrant article has stayed the same, the language, but the language of the motion has changed following what town council told us would be a better way to word it.
Okay. Okay, we shall trust town council.
Okay. Well, he's looking at all this stuff. He'll be looking at it again. Maybe change his
It's all
mind.
good. All right, as long as
Just on
we're,
our finance.
this is
We
a
don't-
draft anyway,
Okay.
so it's not, what's,
Yikes. All right, so we're good here?
yeah, I think we kinda got it.
Maybe.
Yes. All right, are there any other questions? Just a bit of a note, this here, I'm in the midst of writing our report for the finance committee report, and this comes right after that. So this here, they read this article, this goes behind it, this right behind it. We, at one time, just to let you know, one time we used to vote on each individual one of these. And then I think town council advised us to do this. Way back when. Been through those. Sucks a lot. Are there any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. This one, this
No,
one.
this one.
Okay.
Don't screw me up, I got this down now.
Article.
Article 5, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,125 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019, for the purpose of providing recreation and leisure time activities to the people of Dalton.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the town to vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,125 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019, for the purpose of providing recreation and leisure time activities to the people of Dalton. This is just the CRAs. We've already kind of gone through that. Are there any other further questions?
No.
Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Article 6,
This is the housekeeping.
move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $7,818,789 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the operating budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for the town to vote to raise and appropriate $7,818,789 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the operating budget of Central Berkshire Regional School District for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019. We worked on this last night. We're all set? All questions answered pretty much on that? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Oh, we have one more.
I'm sorry, no,
I got one carried away there.
Article 7, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $406,174 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the transportation budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for the town to vote to raise and appropriate $406,174 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the transportation budget of Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019. We've already talked about that one as well, right? Same thing?
Yeah.
All right, any further questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous, thank you.
Article 8, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $164,265 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the capital budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for the town to vote to raise and appropriate $164,264 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the capital budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning
Said 60.
July 1st, 2019.
Did you say
Discussion?
64 or 65?
64. Did I say 64?
Should be
164,265.
Yeah, 164,265. Is that what I
Right.
said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought I heard 264. That's why I said.
No, 164.
Play the tape.
Play the tape. That's good. I'm glad we had. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Article 9, I move the town vote to transfer $65,000 from free cash in the treasury to account 132 reserve fund for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2019.
Second.
A motion's been made for the town to vote to transfer $65,000 from free cash in the treasury to account 132, the reserve fund for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2019. This, back to the whole free cash thing, this is a budget that it's the only one that we have autonomy over.
Right.
In other words, when the money is spent, we have to approve it, sign off on it. So
Right.
this is, there have been times that
And this isn't a budget we approve, this is the approval of that.
this will be the
By the
Right.
article.
Yeah.
We don't get a budget sheet for that, right?
You do.
Reserve fund.
Was there one in here?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
one.
what, oh, is there?
Oh, yeah.
You go, look at Department 132, you'll
Yeah,
see it.
I saw it, I don't remember discussing it. but-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had that. As a matter of fact, I think that was one of the ones we did
Maybe it was so early, I forgot.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was the
It's
first
kind
one.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right here.
Hours,
Bill was
hours.
too busy talking half the time.
Okay.
A year on this one,
Okay.
landfill closure, it's for 2020.
All right, is there any further discussion on the reserve fund?
I think, a little bit. I'll check it.
Seeing or hearing
So
none,
Debbie doesn't mess up.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, is
All
it?
those opposed?
Okay, we were telling about that.
Passes unanimously, thank you.
That reminded me too much.
Article 10, I move that the town vote to transfer $200,000 from free cash in the treasury for the purpose of reducing the expected tax rate increase in the 2020 fiscal year.
Second.
Motion's been made for the town to approve, to vote to transfer $200,000 from free cash in the treasury for the purpose of reducing the expected tax rate increase in the 2020 fiscal year. Right, that's just, of course, it's just, keep things from running away on us. All those in favor?
Is that about tomorrow?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Were you opposed?
No.
No. That was
I'm an aye.
all in favor? That is unanimous.
Yep. Article 11, I move the town vote to transfer $15,852 from the landfill monitoring account number 991 to the landfill closure account number 433 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded, to approve, for the town to vote to transfer $15,852 from the landfill monitoring account 991 to the landfill closure account 433 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020. Is there any discussion? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, why are we looking at something for another year out?
Hmm?
Yeah.
This is looking for something in a whole nother fiscal year?
The next,
Yeah.
July
Is
1st,
it supposed to be
2020.
No, fiscal year.
2019?
Oh, yeah. very good.
2019?
Thank you for seeing my mistake.
Oh, I didn't know if we were trying to do something very proactive.
Very, very forward.
Very good, thank you.
Sandy, when I look
2019, can we-
at that number,
Amend that?
433, it says see Article 16. Am I missing it on this back sheet?
So for that particular one, it says see Article 16?
Yeah,
Let me see.
on 19 it does.
No.
I mean, am I doing something wrong?
That's a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
No, see Article 16 was 19's. See Article 11 for 20.
What's it?
Okay,
That is.
all right, okay.
And so the fiscal year of 20 does begin July 1st, 2019.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
What? Is there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes unanimously.
One more article.
Oh,
12.
there's one more.
Article 12, I move the town vote to rescind an authorization to borrow $75,000 for extraordinary sewer system expenses approved at the special town meeting held on June 25th, 2018, under Article 4.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the town to vote to rescind an authorization to borrow $75,000 for extraordinary sewer expenses, sewer system expenses approved at the special town meeting held on June 25th, 2018, under Article 4.
So we didn't need it after all?
You don't not need it?
That's not.
No, we're gonna move that from the, remember we talked about the sewage treatment expense from Pittsfield being about $400,000, $300,000, that's what we expected. We're just gonna move that money. It'll come back to you in May or June, we'll move the money
Right.
and take care, cure that deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. Cool, that's a good thing. Is there any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Article 13, I move that the town vote to transfer something from free cash in the treasury to reserve fund number 132, the remainder of fiscal year 2019.
What's the something?
Well, we don't know. This might actually be take no action. We gotta check on the reserve fund. If we think we're gonna need some money to put in the, back in the reserve fund for this fiscal year to close it out, we'll come up with a number. You may have to convene to approve that number, but I just don't know.
We don't have it now.
We don't have it now.
Yes, we better
Does anybody have an idea what the balance of the reserve fund is?
Jeez, I haven't looked.
We
Well,
gotta check
are
it.
We haven't
these our
used
first
much.
ones? Are these the first ones?
Yeah, those were the first
Yeah.
ones,
So,
I think. Oh, no,
I think we had one in the fall.
we, yeah, we had
There were
one
some in the
small
fall.
one
Yeah,
in
a
the
couple
fall.
small
We had
ones
some.
involved.
Terry's got the, do you have a copy of Terry's spreadsheet?
Yeah, I do, at home.
Yeah, 'cause
You know,
that's,
where's the-
we gotta update that.
Which,
See where I'm sure we have enough money there, we don't have.
I don't
any
remember
transfer.
I have to
doing
go
those
back
in
and
the fall.
look. I-
It was like a
I
really
updated
small
it.
what was in this spreadsheet?
I've gotta
We
go
would
look.
have the same thing.
These aren't the first ones.
I don't know if it ever got reported.
No, I think we have one.
When they're a couple of
Transfer.
them.
Yeah, a couple real small ones.
Like
$4,000.
It was, it actually seemed weird that they were coming out with them so quickly.
They're supposed to be.
You know, Mike, you weren't here.
Happy minutes.
Chris, you were on
It was like
the.
a
I'll have to look.
Yeah, they were little, they were 300.
That was like a $300
$1,300 maybe. They were small.
Why did we do
I'll
that
look back, I'll,
Looked like we were getting a little.
I don't remember that. I'll have
Unless
to look.
unless it was the year before. No, but it's at 18. I'll shoot, send you a copy.
Okay.
yeah. So,
And it got
So,
approved.
do we want to table this?
I don't know, but I
No,
just
we
Yeah.
can't
said
table it,
for
we don't
an
have,
idea.
we don't have any other meetings scheduled until June. We'd have to bring it out to table in June. Well, we could just say a sum of money, I suppose.
You
We'll
wanna give
transfer a sum of money to be
approximately,
determined
can we say,
from free cash.
When we analyze the reserve fund for this year, if we
Yeah.
don't need to put any more money into it, the motion will be changed to move to take no action under this article. That'll be the end of it.
Right. We've
Right.
had a few of them.
Yeah.
over the years.
We do that when there's no money. If there is some money, then you could convene a meeting, Bill, and we can discuss.
So for tonight, to
For tonight's purposes.
finish
the sum.
approving this, should we say to be determined?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yes, to be determined.
So I'll reread the motion here, Article 13. Excuse me, I move the town vote to transfer a sum to be determined from free cash in the treasury, reserve fund account number 132 for the remainder of fiscal year 2019.
No, but I can go up and look.
Motion has been made and
You want me to
seconded
do
for the
that?
town to vote to transfer a sum of money to be determined at a later date from free cash in the treasury to the reserve fund account 132 for the remainder of the fiscal year 2019. Is there any other discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, jeepers, I got carried. I'm getting
Last
carried.
one.
You keep saying that.
Only got four more.
I'm actually being quiet over here.
Only got three more.
Jeff keeps saying last one.
Article 14, I move the town vote to transfer $500,000 from free cash in the treasury in the following amounts to the following stabilization funds: $200,000 to the sewer stabilization fund, $100,000 to the general stabilization fund, $50,000 to the litigation stabilization fund, and $150,000 to the capital stabilization fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the town to vote to transfer $500,000 from free cash in the treasury in the following amounts. To the following stabilization accounts, to the following amounts to the following stabilization accounts. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
$200,000 to the sewer stabilization fund, $100,000 to the general stabilization fund, $50,000 to the litigation stabilization fund, and $150,000 to the capital stabilization fund. Where are we at with all those funds? Just real quick. Do you know how much is in each one of those? By chance?
Yeah, I think it's right on,
Probably
right on the top of the spreadsheet.
Oh, there they are.
2,519,000 right here, Bill.
That's as of January 31st.
Right. Okay.
Balance is $2.5 million.
Yet he has free
Yeah.
cash at 1,600,000.
Yeah, estimated
General
stabilization funds,
capitalization.
that's all in there.
Yeah, those are the four.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Look pretty healthy, that's good.
Mhm.
All right.
yeah. And when we get done appropriating all this free cash, the balance in free cash is gonna be 200, just over 200,000. So we got 1.6 million.
At what point is that considered healthy for the town? I remember Terry talking about that often.
Well, the rule of thumb is that all your reserve accounts ought to be 10% of your operating budget. So you don't see it on this one, but on my little planning spreadsheet, I just do it for the stabilization accounts, and it's 14%, so we're in good shape.
Okay.
Okay.
This little box, actually this little box here, Ken, hard for you to see it over there, but it says about $200,000.
That's right,
Yeah.
that'll be left.
This is the one where you have to put
Free
a
cash
year.
balance.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Same thing with 15.
I'm sorry.
Almost last.
Positive, have to be
I
back.
don't know. Article 15, I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $600,000 from free cash in the treasury to the other post-employment benefits trust fund for the purpose of reducing the unfunded actuarial liability of health care and other post-employment benefits.
Second.
Motion's been made for the town to vote to transfer the sum of $600,000 from free cash in the treasury to the other post-employment benefits trust fund for the purpose of reducing the unfunded actuarial liability of health care and other post-employment benefits. OPEB. Does everyone kind of understand what OPEB is all about? All set. Are there any other questions? I'm going to fall asleep, so. Okay. All right, seeing or hearing no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Article 17, I move the town vote to authorize payment of any unpaid bills of KP Law for fiscal year 18.
19.
Was it 19?
Fiscal year
19?
19.
You can see I was uncertain. Sandy kindly ran upstairs to get a copy of the bill, and I didn't know, it's why it's got a question mark with
And
it.
the actual article here reads unpaid bills for previous fiscal years.
So that was from FY18
Oh,
though,
okay.
It was.
It
That's why
was,
it's
There-
4/5.
Are there any others?
not that I know of.
so
Okay.
18
So
is
18's
correct.
okay.
Fiscal year 18 pursuant to the requirements of Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 64. And the amount was?
1,355.
Thank you.
Second.
And I'm not saying that I made it round up, so there's no pennies.
Thank you.
We appreciate that very much, Sandy. Motion's been made and seconded for the town to vote to authorize payment of an unpaid bill of $1,355 to KP Law for fiscal year 2018 pursuant to requirements of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 64. Do you understand why we have to do this in this manner? Because it's a two-year-old bill. So, because it's a two-year-old bill, it actually is going to require a 4/5 vote to pay for that.
They changed that.
If the town meeting. So, because it becomes a real headache if people don't pay, don't
Remember.
get us the bills on time. It becomes a real.
And they don't
headache.
get paid.
That would be better, but if
Right.
Vote it down.
if it goes down, then they don't get paid. That's what that boils down to. I don't know if I
Sometimes,
want to live in those shoes or not, but whatever, especially a law firm.
yeah, sometimes
Your
it's slipped through the cracks.
I think that's what happened.
And didn't get paid.
Bill.
And
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it
Right.
gets discovered 4 months into the new year,
Right, yeah.
Right.
and
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
appropriation is gone.
I get it.
Yep. Yeah, stuff happens. Right.
Did we ever
Great hearing,
find
Kenny.
out what,
Are there any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous.
Are you gonna do that?
Yeah. I, unfortunately, I did not bring that, but I'll entertain a motion if you would like, concerning the new Lacona.
You gave me the motion.
I'm gonna have to recuse myself, there's gonna be a discussion. on
There
this.
will be some, there'll be a short discussion. Yeah.
did you wanna call my coffee?
No,
We tried already.
All right.
Yeah, it's different,
You guys.
Did you have any other?
It- More golfing.
You-
Vote on the balance of the minutes?
We were going to postpone those until the June meeting, we'll do them all
Yeah,
at
the
once.
minutes, yeah,
Before you leave, I
Yeah.
figured out for sure.
yeah.
No more business, I think before us tonight, right?
No, there won't be any other business. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Till June,
Or
See you,
before.
Jake. I'll call you
or
before that.
before, yeah.
Probably before that.
Oh, I'm sure we'll see you before.
Yeah, if you want. Okay,
Okay,
all right,
those are separate.
okay. Stevie's gonna have to help me with that.
Which,
Figure it
Matter
out.
of having the spreadsheet, I think that's all.
Yeah, it's a spreadsheet with all that stuff.
the reserve fund transfers
reserve
don't
fund.
go on it.
No, no,
Don't we
it's,
have to have a number though?
Oh, you mean that spreadsheet?
yeah.
That's,
I need help with what has already been.
Yeah, I'll dig it out. I've got it. Something
should have got the other.
I have to make the entry.
I'll look at it.
I didn't look at all the fees. So much has gone on from October to March.
When I went over.
It seems
We'll
like we did,
figure it
there's
out.
like two and they're like really
Yeah,
small.
we'll look it up.
I don't
We
remember.
kind of need to,
Like one I swear
Yeah.
was like $300.
kind of need to get out of there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
I gotta just.
Turn this
fix-
way.
I
Okay.
know.
I move that
You
the finance
did too.
committee approve
So,
of
you just
the
said-
proposal to construct a new Wacona Regional High School.
Motion has been made and seconded to, I just want to read it so I get it verbatim. Motion's been made and seconded for the Finance Committee to approve of the proposal to construct the new Wacona Regional High School. Is there any discussion? Well, the only thing is, that I would like to say about it, so we don't get into, we can go as long as we like. One thing I'd like to say about it is, if the building is built as presented by the school district, it will be a rather large burden on the town. You saw the capital expenditures that we have presently, which is around somewhere in the vicinity of $162,000. It will go to $1,162,000 is what it's going to look like. So if you want to kind of wrap your mind around that. I've run some rough numbers with what we have. They're extremely rough. The average taxpayer, and that's average, so it's a $210,000 home, will be paying somewhere around $4,700. That's just, and that's all very rough, but it's around $4,700 a year in taxes. They're presently paying just under $4,000 a year right now. It's a sizable amount of money. Plus, we have some very large things headed our way ourselves. So that the town, it's a difficult time for this town. It's a very difficult time. And I just have to say I wish the times were different. I do I think a new school is a great idea, but unfortunately, considering the climate we're in, I don't necessarily think the timing is very, very good at this point. Just to think on being fiscally responsible. I have to, I'm the chairman of the finance committee, and I guess that's what the town voters have charged me with being fiscally responsible. Does anyone else have anything else to say or discuss? Questions? Maybe where I came from with any of this?
I guess the only thing I wanted to say was that here we have a middle school at 50% capacity.
Yeah.
It just seems like we should use that. Why are we going to build this whole new school when that's at 50%?
Yeah, I can't disagree.
I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If we had a lot of businesses coming in, I said, we're just not looking good.
Yeah, that was a point that I kind of brought up last night, was that we do indeed have a declining, and it's declining pretty rapidly, population in the town of Dalton. And because of that declining population, I just checked some numbers. I did it by 10 years, but in 1990, we had 7,300 residents in the town of Dalton. And business was very good in the 1990s. Things were going great guns. It has been steadily declining, and we're presently at 6,300 in the town of Dalton. And there's no sign of that going in the upward direction anytime soon. So that means that the number of people, the ability for us to garner revenue to support something of that nature is dwindling fast, unfortunately. So, I love the idea of the new school, but from a fiscal viewpoint, I don't think it's there for us. That's my opinion. Does anyone else? Are we?
And I think even attending a couple of the meetings that were held earlier this month regarding this new school and the session that you and Tom Callahan put out of the forum, it seemed like 9 out of 10 of the folks that attended, their concerns, or what they expressed were the concerns regarding the affordability of the taxes. And to your point about the tax base, you just worry that long-time residents just may not be able to stay in their homes.
Yeah.
Amanda, how many people are upset now with just the sewer user fee going up? That's going up, and you're going to tax, you're going to go up for that? I mean, where are the elderly going to?
Well, that's the I don't know the per capita numbers off the top of my head in Dalton. I have heard that the average age in the town of Dalton is now over 50 years old. So that tells me that there's a pretty fair number of people that are out there that are they have fixed incomes. And we have to address that. We have to be concerned for that. We really do.
And the unfortunate thing is, it brought up yesterday, something's got to be done, so there's going to have to be a
We're-
plan made to address either the repairs or something like that.
Yeah, we can't, the one thing, I guess the biggest point that needs to be made is we can't ignore the fact that Wacona Regional High School as it stands needs repairs. Unfortunately, the district as a whole, over the years, not the people that are working there now are trying to do something. I give them a lot of credit. They're trying to fix the problems that we've created over the years. They're trying to fix it, and unfortunately, the fix came when we're at a point where we can't afford it. So the repairs. Few repairs have been done, and I was on a building committee 12 years ago. Few repairs have been done, and they've had to, and it all relates, of course, to the fiscal ability. So
You couldn't get that from them last night, though.
it was difficult.
It was very difficult because they're on the positive, and I totally understand that, but they're going to have to figure out if it doesn't go through, and if it doesn't go through a second time. That's where the big kicker is going to be, is that second vote.
If indeed there is a second
If they decide to come back, which...
It's hard to say.
Hard to say what they'll
If it's
do.
like a landslide, no, will they come back for a
Will they
second
come
vote, you
back?
think? Or only
I-
if it's?
I-
I
one
think
would
they're so
assume-
determined.
They're so
One
determined.
would assume that they would not if it's landslide.
Mm.
I would
Disagree.
say, if it's real close, I wouldn't blame them for coming back.
I think they'll come back no matter what.
Yeah,
They're
I
so
do. Yeah, they're
adamant.
so determined.
They're
Yeah.
determined.
I-
Well, God bless them for being determined.
And I think some people, and I could be totally wrong, that feel that, you know, the ones who do feel that they want the school, that, you know, we'll just do what we have to do, just to get the school.
Yeah.
And that's the other side of it, and it's not about the fiscal part
About
of
wanting
it.
it.
It's about wanting it, you
And I think a
know?
lot of people also hear, it's gonna cost this much for a new school, it's gonna cost the same amount for renovations, and they don't hear anything else.
Yeah, they don't see, there's no
At
numbers.
least people I've spoken to,
Mhm.
like I said, what about the sewer? What do you mean about the sewer? They don't even know about that.
Right.
We had no publicity on that meeting that you were.
No,
There's
that,
nothing in the
other
paper
than
about that.
other than our Dalton Community Cable being kind enough to put it on YouTube,
Yes.
the Berkshire Eagle has been
Did not.
completely remiss in finding
Mhm.
out what other than the select board meeting. I think we had a reporter here last night, but of course we were unable to have the vote last night, and then of course we ran over again tonight. But this is a sizable issue, and I just feel it's been rather underreported when it comes to what we think. This
Well, the
is-
financing people all
We-
the time.
Yeah, we're the ones that sit here and look at year after year. We sit here and we look at these budgets and we go line by line over 70 or 80 budgets. We look at them and we scrutinize them rather closely, each and every one. And because of that, we have a pretty good handle on what goes on.
We've been very lucky over the years to keep our budget
Yeah,
really good, very, like you said, very conservatively, over the
Yeah.
years. And it's taken a lot of hard work to get it to where it's at.
and it's
And
good
I
to see
probably
as
think that, oh,
well.
we're so healthy. Well, yeah, but we see projections. And thank God for, you know, Ken and
There is a
Sandy
time,
able to keep us on top of it.
We do have to keep in mind, through the years, our expense line items have been, they haven't seen increases in well over a decade. Substantial, when I say substantial, like a cost of living increase, we haven't seen that in well over a decade. And that's thanks to the staff that we have that works in this building. That's a lot of thanks to them. And they really work extremely hard for us to get that. You know, so the shuffling of the numbers and the moving around, that's the main reason that we've been able to keep a healthy free cash and we've been able to keep a healthy town. But if we end up saddled with a million, and furthermore, if it ends up approved and the debt exclusion fails, this town, that comes, keep that in mind, that will come from our operating budget. And just to give you an example, as you all know, that the operating budget for our police department alone is roughly around $800,000. Our highway department is a little over $400,000. Those will be cut. That's what will happen. So, and unfortunately, we will need to look at that. That's a very tough position for a town to be put in, a very difficult position. And the townspeople may say, well, you know what, we're gonna put the school down if we just simply don't pay for it. That's entirely possible. That's very real right now. That's very, very real. That would not be an up or down vote on the school. That's an up or down vote on the town. So it's a difficult position, and I understand the positions of all four of you, including myself, but it's difficult at best. Sandy and Ken, do you want to speak to it, or you?
No,
I'm good too.
Are you?
I know what I'm gonna do.
Very good. Any further comments, questions?
No, I'll just say, like Bill, I am really worried if the project passes and there's no debt exclusion, what it's gonna do it's gonna devastate the town budget. And even if the debt exclusion, if the debt exclusion doesn't pass, people are still gonna see, the average homeowner is still gonna see a $400 jump in their tax bill. So it'll be about $600 if the debt exclusion passes, and it'll be about $400. So we'll have to raise everybody's taxes by at least $400, the average homeowner, and then we'll still cut $500,000 to $600,000 out of the budget.
Yeah, so,
People don't realize.
So does that
People
proposition,
don't-
I don't-
so
No,
does
They
that
don't,
mean,
they see everybody new school and they don't see all that.
but does that mean that the Prop 2.5 goes up if we don't get the debt? It-
We will use all of our unused levy capacity under Proposition 2.5. Since there's no debt exclusion, it means there's no override of our levy limit. That means we have to cut.
Okay. Just
So
to clarify.
we've got about $1
Yeah.
million, we're gonna probably be better, we're in better financial position than we've been in years and years and years. We have, looks like we're gonna have almost $1 million of unused levy capacity, but the debt service is gonna be about $1,600,000 a year.
And that's for almost, what, 30 years?
That's for 30 years.
So you're talking almost 30 years
Right.
of that.
And-
If anything, with no new growth
The
and
new
no
growth isn't
other
needed.
way of bringing
Yeah.
income.
new
into the-
growth in this town is
It's
as
dead.
flat as it gets. It's, what was it, $65,000 this year?
The year it was 145 this year.
It was, oh, okay.
It was
We actually
First time
had a
it broke
year.
100,000 in a long
Yeah.
time.
So it was, it was $100,000 in a town that's worth over $612 million. It's less than 1/10 of 1%. That's as anemic as it gets. That's as close to zero as you're ever gonna see it, short of zero. So we really, it's difficult at best. So, but regardless of what happens, it will go, the taxes are gonna go up, and they're gonna go up substantially if indeed the school is approved. So it doesn't matter how, whether we do a debt exclusion or whatever, it still goes up, because we have to take it off the other side of the ledger. All right?
Okay.
Okay. All right, everyone. Seeing or hearing no further discussion on the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion fails unanimously. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, second.